Okay, guys, we are live. This is the stream that a lot of y'all have been waiting for, that I've been postponing for literally months. But um it's time to get this done and over with, and I cannot wait to feel the relief of not having to do this stream when the stream is over. So, yeah, without further ado, let's go to slide 1. I hate this already. Uh, all right, so fuck. Okay, look, let's get through this as fast as possible and just I'm just gonna cover the slides, all right? Because I made a lot of slides and I just want to get what? You left? Okay, whatever. Look, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mature about this, okay? Look, I've been rambling and being boring for the last minute and a half. Um, okay. So like hey, viewer, whoever you are, welcome to the stream. It's good to see you guys again, it's good to be streaming again. Okay, so I'll just go through the points then. So like I took ADHD meds and then I didn't take them, sometimes because I couldn't like um um bro, this is so horseshit, man. Holy shit, bro. Y'all just post some comments in the chat just so I'm just gonna respond to comments for now because I can't seem to get into the content. So yeah. Shrathan Looks Max says keep going, bro, don't tap out. I appreciate your encouragement, man. I really do. I really do. It's I feel better now that you're watching the stream, at least someone's like, invested in the content. Let's make this full screen, shall we? How do I do that? Make it full. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, so there's several topics that I'm gonna cover in the stream. It's You left? Okay, he popped in here just to give me encouragement. Oh no, maybe he's back. I don't know. Okay, look. Just focus on the content. Okay, look. So, I tried ADHD medication and it worked really, really well. Um, but there was quite a few complications that I'm gonna get into later on. Um, the expense of having to the expense of the doctors and psychiatrists appointments was one of the biggest limiting factors um preventing me from getting access to the meds consistently, and the viewers are leaving the stream just as consistently. Okay, well, also, um, ADHD medication allowed me to be way more productive, but um, old habits die hard, and throughout um throughout this past school year, which was my fourth year in university, I had relapsed a lot on smoking a lot of weed and just like binging weed, which yeah, yeah, because the productivity from the medication, it wasn't really sustainable, so wasn't really sustainable. So I kept having these like cycles of like being super productive and trying to fix my life, and then just like burning out and just like crashing and like regressing back into my old ways, and then trying to like fix everything back up again at the end. And um yeah, and as a result of just like going into this like big weed bender at the end of the fall semester, I really like fell short on a lot of my responsibilities, and I ended up missing out on a lot of things. Um, I'm gonna talk about on in the next slide. So the school year is over, and it's the summer right now, and I'm not home with my parents, and this is the first summer that I have not been at home living with with my family. And I'm actually quite a bit happier because of that, because um I just have like all kinds of issues, like mental health wise, when um when I'm like living back at home with my family. And also like I just basically can't really do much of anything because I don't know anyone. I can't really go anywhere. So I'm staying here, which is where I go to school, and I'm gonna start look and well, I've been looking for jobs, and really want to start working this summer. Um, well, like over winter break, I did go home because if I recall correctly, I think it's because my brother and my dad were going overseas, and I had to take care of our dog. Um, I didn't want to go home over winter break because I kind of wanted to do my own thing, but I kind of had to because someone has to take care of our dog. So yeah, but I my mom um taught me driving over the break, which was like one of the big highlights. So I'm working on getting that license and all that. So like this past year I've been like applying to a lot of jobs. Like this school year has really been like the only time in college when I've actually like been sort of applying in a large quantity. And I have not gotten hired yet. Um Yeah, but it's I'm really just kind of going for anything I can get to gain some experience and get some money. So I'm like applying to like McDonald's, like Walmart and stuff. Yeah, I'm just kind of like applying everywhere just to get this like wagey job, and I'm not really looking forward to that. So I'm not really sure how long I can last until I crack under the pressure of having to do something I hate for multiple hours a day to sustain my miserable existence. But, you gotta do what adults gotta do. So that's that. So all right. So a couple of the eventful things that occurred in the past school year. Um, so I got diagnosed with ADHD in August of last year. And hey, David. Yep, I am streaming. Um, it seems to be pretty boring so far because nobody really sticks around to watch this. But yeah, let's get on with it. So well, after getting diagnosed with ADHD in August, I took medication for the first time in the beginning of September. And, yeah, like, it made, like, a night and day difference. Like, the it was, like, so insane just how much stuff that I had the energy to do, and just how well I could manage my time and just how many tasks I could pack into a single day, which would end up, causing me a lot of stress, and I would end up burning out. But man, it was like such a big difference, like, it's like time even passed slower, like, I actually have access to, like, all the hours in the day. It's actually insane, but, le yeah, so I also started, applying to jobs, and, I interviewed for, a couple of positions throughout the year. Um, let's see. Well, so the thing with ADHD meds is that it's not just like, how the saying, like, "There is no free lunch," right? So and that's, like, really true for, like, for what I was taking, which was I started with Adderall, then I switched to Vyvanse. With amphetamines, like, the law basically is what goes up must come down. So, like, although I would be, like, super productive in the morning and the afternoon, by evening time, I would, like, crash and feel like shit. So, that's why in this, like, big hackathon event that, this overnight hackathon that I participated in this year, which I participated in all the previous years in college, um, after about, like, 6 PM, I simply could not write a single fucking line of code. Like, I was fried, I was just done. Um, and I took more medication. I took more stimulants to try to stay up, to try to be productive, but it didn't work. It just didn't work, and I just kept feeling like shit, but then I couldn't sleep because I was on the stimulant. So, so yeah, no, that was like, my performance during the hackathon was, like, pretty fucking horrible, and, yeah, and I'm actually I'm really, like, pretty embarrassed about it, because my teammates, they worked, like, really, really hard, and, I was, like, really fortunate to get a really good team at the hackathon this year because 2 of our team members were software engineers, okay, and they're not like, 25 or something, like, these guys were, like, 18 and 19 years old who were software engineers. It's, like, absolutely fucking mind-blowing, right? And, yeah, I met them at the event, and they were just, like, they were just, like, really cool people, like, and they were so, like, experienced and so skilled with, like, just how good they were at computer science. It's like, they carried the whole thing, and, like, this was the best project that I ever participated in, although it was, my own performance wasn't that good. Um, so, yeah, I was, like, being productive for, like, quite, for, like, 2 months, right? But, so what happened was, like, I couldn't afford to keep up with the appointments because the psychiatry appointments were just, like, the bills were just too expensive. Um, so, when I ran out of meds after the 2nd month, I had all these medical bills to pay, right? So I didn't, like, get more meds. Like, I just kind of, like, thought like, "Okay, I've been productive for 2 months, right? I've been super productive, I've been doing all my homework, I've been getting straight A's. Now I can, like, reward myself by buying a little bit of weed and just enjoying myself," right? But that was a massive mistake because, I know myself well enough to know that I can't do it in moderation. So, as soon as that weed arrived, I just started being high all day, every day, ordering a lot of DoorDash and just binging a lot of food and just completely, like, neglecting my obligations. So I just, like, slacked off on a group project, like, just didn't show up to, like, some meetings and ended up missing out on a lot of stuff because, um yeah, and the thing with, like, with Adderall and Vyvanse is that they give me insomnia, Um, so even after like the focus benefit like wears off, like and like the thing is like when I crash in the evening at like 8 9 p.m. um I feel like tired and like very unfocused, right? And yet I still can't sleep. So like um the side effects of the medication seem to linger on a little bit longer, not a little bit, but like longer than the positive effects, right? So insomnia is one of the like hardest um side effects that I had to deal with. And because of that, this was during the second semester, and that's when I started taking Vyvanse. And I basically just started to not get enough sleep because I had to go to class at like 9 a.m. and I ended up building up a lot of sleep deprivation. So at first, the Vyvanse, just like the Adderall, was working really well, and it worked even better than the Adderall because it was a lot smoother than the Adderall. It's just Vyvanse is basically just superior to Adderall generally. With for some people, are exceptions to that rule, but I think that it generally is a superior medication. Um, yeah, but the insomnia though, so like, um, like there was this one morning when I was trying to get to class, and I took Vyvanse, and I ended up like walking down the wrong hallway 3 times, because I was just sleep deprived, and I just had these memory problems, right? Because I had a lot of sleep deprivation built up from many nights with just like poor sleep quality because of these stimulants. So that's like not good, and that's one of the things that made um that kind of like stimulant lifestyle just kind of hard to deal with, you know um oh well, this year I went to 2 parties, which I'm very glad. um one of them was it was like I just got so lucky because I was just like walking in these like nature trails in a park that's like next to my apartment, right? And I just like ran into this guy, and he just like invited me to a party. So it's like so like I was like super fucking happy about that. Also I tripped on DXM for the first time, and I've done that 3 times, and it was a really profound and worthwhile experience. Definitely was the strongest drug I've ever like been on. It was like really eye-opening, because it's like it transported me to a whole nother dimension. Like I just kind of like left the physical world, and then I started like floating in like a nebula and like flying through a jungle and stuff. Like it was really cool, but um I don't think I'm gonna do that again because it gave me HPPD, which is hallucinogen persisting perception disorder, if I remember right. So like basically like my visual snow got worse. So like if I'm just like looking at the wall, like it looks like flickery. It looks like there's like static over it, It's kind of like flashing a little bit. And I always had that. Like I remember having that when I was like 5, 6, and 7 years old, but like the DXM made it worse. So I'm not gonna do that again. Um yeah. Um okay, so one of the problems with that made ADHD medication not really sustainable in the long run for me is the tolerance, because you build up tolerance to the drug and you end up um, like getting less of the positive effects, and you end up feeling worse when you do not take that drug because your brain adapts to it. So that was happening to me, and after I took Vyvanse for like about a month, I think, almost every day, it just made it so I felt like utter dog shit if I didn't take it. So I went on this like social trip to this sort of like camp slash retreat with an organization in college. And like there was one day during that trip that I didn't take the Vyvanse. and, or did right, right, yeah, I didn't take the Vyvanse, and I just, like, felt so miserable, you know, like, we went on a hike, and, everyone else was having a good time, right? But I was just so exhausted, I was so miserable, you know, like and also, the first night of that trip, everybody was, like, staying up late and, like, playing pool and, like, just, like, socializing and everything, but, I took Vyvanse that morning, and, that night, I was crashing, and I just got extremely irritable. I just started, like, being very snappy, just started, like I, like, kicked my backpack out of anger. It's, yeah, no, it's just terrible for social interactions because, like, you know, normies, neurotypicals, they socialize, they have a lot of energy at night, right? But the Vyvanse makes it so I have a lot of energy in the morning and, like, in midday, but at night, I just crash and I can't really do much anything, and I just feel like shit. It's, it's really terrible for social life, you know, it's, the irritability, you know, like, I just start, like, crashing out at people. It's, some truly relationship destroying, behavior that is not good at all. Um, well, as you can see in this timeline, I have had periods where I was taking the ADHD medication, I was being super productive, and I was, like, on self-improvement, I was not smoking weed, I was doing all my homework, I was applying to jobs, I was just being I was, like I was feeling good that I was finally getting my life together, right? But there were also periods where I just sort of, like, crashed and burned and just kinda regressed into my old ways, you know? When I just binged a bunch of weed and just, like, didn't do any work, didn't show up to class. Um, yeah, and, one thing that happened that was pretty fucking annoying was, in the spring semester, at the end, when I was on this, like, big, long weed bender, the last one that you see in this slide, um, so my roommate was really nice to, like, let, um, me and my other roommates use his electric scooter. Yeah, so, um, I accidentally left the scooter outside the front door, and I forgot it, and, you know, and then I woke up that was at night, and then the next morning, I woke up and I went like, "Oh, shit, the scooter, this the scooter, right?" So then I opened the front door and it was gone. I was like, "Oh, shit," but then I saw the scooter on the porch, on the balcony, so, my other roommate must have taken it to the porch, and I was really glad that they did that because it would've sucked donkey balls if it got stolen. But then there was, like, a really heavy rainstorm, and I kinda just, like, forgot that the scooter was left out there. I just thought it would be fine, you know, sitting there, right? But then a day or 2 later, um not a day or 2, I think it was, just, like, a few days later, I thought everything was good, I didn't think anything of it, right? But then, the roommate who owns the scooter, he texts me saying that the scooter won't turn on. The scooter broke, and, you know, I took the blame for that because I was the one who left the scooter outside the front door, and, just, you know, that was just kind of because I was just smoking weed and I was just, you know, I wasn't exactly, um I kinda was just, like, really, like, lazy and forgetful and all that, right? Like, yeah, so I ended up owing him $125, which is actually really generous because that scooter cost, like, $500. Um, but yeah, you know, it's like, this year has been, like, quite financially stressful for me too because I had a lot of medical bills from, like, the ADHD appointments, you know, and, having to, like, pay off the scooter and everything, you know? Yeah, well, you can see on the slide at the end of the, timeline where that question mark is. That's, like, where I'm at right now, and, I have not been taking ADHD medication, but, I'm still, being more productive and being on self-improvement and abstaining from weed, and, yeah, I'm happy that, um, like, I'm doing better now, and, you know, funny enough, one of the things that helped me quit was, okay, so I used to, like, just to buy my weed online, okay? But then at one time I ran out and I really needed to get it like ASAP because I was going through some pretty horrific withdrawals. So, I bought some weed off of this guy that I knew from school, right? Um, and it was like it was pretty good, but it wasn't as strong as the stuff I got online. So then I got some stuff online, and when I ran out of that, I went to get some more weed from the plug. But then the second time, um, the weed that he gave me seemed like so weak. It was like so low quality. It didn't smell that good. It was just like really reggy, and that sucked, because like it didn't even like cure my withdrawal symptoms. So I was like feeling pretty fucking horrible, even though I was smoking, trying to get rid of the withdrawal symptoms. But I think that that was actually for the best. Ironically, receiving Reggie weed was like the best thing that happened to me because that's what allowed me to quit, right? So I'm very, very thankful that he gave me Reggie weed, and I have not bought weed again since then. So, um, actually, no, I have some low dose edibles to help me sleep, which I no longer take. It was just to help me taper off. But yeah, plug. Thank you for giving me Reggie weed. So Delita says, random guy invites you to go to a party. Are you Stacy now? Okay, no. I'm a low tier Becky at best, and no, I just got really, really lucky. Yeah, and he's never gonna like me, so it doesn't matter. All right, so like one of here's something that I've still been struggling with this year is that I'm just not really getting far socially. Um, it's like one thing that I do is that I'm like quite opportunistic when I socialize. So you know, I'm not really I don't really put myself out there that much. I don't really talk to people like consistently, and that's why like I'm not friends with the software engineers I met at the hackathon, because like after the event, I just kind of never really talked to them again. Um, I just really like don't feel like reaching out to people and trying to maintain these relationships, even though I should and I want to. It's just that like I'm really only motivated to socialize when there's some kind of reward that's like on the horizon, like if there's gonna be a party or if there's gonna be something that's gonna be really fun, then I'm motivated to socialize, like, but I'm very, very bad at like long-term investment. Um, yeah, so like the roommate I was talking about, the one who had the electric scooter, which I broke. Um, he was new. He came in this school year, and unfortunately, I just kind of made a bad first impression on him because the very first thing that I did after meeting him was get extremely high on weed and just started acting like very um weird. So that definitely wasn't good. Um and my other roommate had way better conversations with him than I could manage, and yeah, I wanted to build like a good relationship with him, but now I don't know, it just kind of didn't work of my skill issue. Um, yeah. Also, as I mentioned before in the last slide, the well, I didn't mention this one, but like, well, I did mention that, but the crash, um, from of the ADHD meds, at times it makes me irritable. Like it always makes me sad, but sometimes it makes me very, very irritable. And that's just like straight up dangerous and destructive to social relations. Because during a particularly awful crash in like November, I think, I was just like crashing out on my roommates. I was like screaming at them, like just getting really angry at them, and that's just terrible for social relationships. It's like the downside of ADHD medication, the crash. 'Cause, the good part of it, like, not the crash, it actually makes me better at socializing, makes me more talkative, it makes me feel more confident, but the crash is the opposite of that. And, despite taking meds, and sometimes I didn't take the meds, and it's just I still had all these, like, ADHD-ish kind of social problems. I always felt like I was 10 steps behind socially. Like, there was like, during these crashes, my outlook on life would be really, really, like, pessimistic and stuff, and I would just get mad at myself for all the mistakes I would make, I just feel like I wanna be normal like everyone else, and I would just, like, be kicking myself, asking me why I can't get it together? So, like so to that, like, camp/retreat in the spring, um, I didn't have a car, so I had to ask one of the, members, to if he could give me a ride to the, location, right? But, I kept procrastinating, like, even though I was taking medication, I just kept procrastinating on asking him for a ride. So, it ended up being too late, so I had to take an Uber to get to a bus stop, and then take the bus as far as I could go outside the city, to like, the edge of the city, and then I took an Uber from that location to the camp, while carrying a very, very heavy bag, and I had to walk through downtown, like, a couple of blocks carrying this super heavy bag. It was, like, one of the most exhausting and annoying, um, like, pilgrimages I have ever had to go on. Um, I was just, like, so mad at myself. It's like, why couldn't you just ask the guy for, like, if he could give you a ride, like, 5 days before it? Like, I just kept fucking procrastinating? Um, I also can't keep up with the energy that the people around me have, because with that, like, a social group, the club in college, um, like, the first night of the trip, like I said, they were all, like, socializing, and they were all, like, um, really, really energetic at 1 AM, 2 AM. They were just, like, super pumped up? Like, and I was like, that was the day that I had to, like, take that fucking pilgrimage to try to get to the location, and I got. And then I was so, like, tired. I was spent because I was tired, and I was also crashing off the Vyvanse, and I was like, "Dude, how do these people do it, man?" Like, how do these people do it? Like, it's just kind of like a cliche kind of thing where, like, that I've seen on, like, ADHD Reddit, which is that, like, when people take medication and then their mind gets all calm and stuff, and then they say, like, "Oh, is this how normal people feel?" And, yes and no, because there's, but the thing is, though, that, like, when stuff like this happens, when I see, like, normies being super duper energetic and just seemingly having unlimited energy, it looks almost as if they're on stimulants all the time. It's like are normies on meth constantly because they just have so much energy, you know? Like, it's as if they're literally always on Adderall. That's what they seem like to me. Um, yeah, so during the group trip, there was also this, situation, like, when, I just kind of was really socially clueless. So, we're about to go from this park to, like, go to eat at this restaurant, right? But then I didn't get a ride, so then I was like, "Oh shit, I have to walk alone from the park to the restaurant when everyone else was driving." And, very, very thankful that somebody noticed and offered to let me ride in the trunk of their car. Yeah. Yeah, but see, like, this is, like, why I feel like I'm always 10 steps behind socially. Like, I'm always having to, like, um, I'm always, like, the last one to sort of cling on to the edge of this group, you know what I mean? It's like, like, someone had to let me ride in the trunk of their car, right? But it's like, and then if they didn't do that, then I would have just had to walk to the location alone. It's like, I hate feeling like I'm always 10 steps behind socially, you know? Okay, we're already 35 minutes in and we're only on slide 3 out of 30. So I'm gonna have to really pick up this pace. So Sonoma Shanae asks, what do you think of dismissive avoidance? Let me see. Dismissive avoidant attachment is an insecure style where individuals subconsciously avoid emotional intimacy and vulnerability. Driven by a desire for extreme self-reliance, they often withdraw, suppress emotions, or downplay the importance of relationships to protect themselves from perceived disappointment or rejection. Yeah, that sucks. I can relate to some elements of that. One thing that stands out to me that I do not relate to is a desire for extreme self-reliance. Um, well, I mean, actually, yeah, I do want that, but from my parents. I mean, I want to not be a leech on my family. I want to be financially independent, so I want to be self-reliant like that. But I also want to have a lot of friends and have a big support system and connect with people emotionally. Um, I just can't really seem to like get good at actually achieving that. Um, all right, so I'm sorry guys if I'm not responding to all of the messages in the chat. I really have to pick up the pace right now. So um yeah, and in addition to like not getting along with my new roommate that well, it's also like my other there another roommate I have is getting along with another roommate's friend a lot better than I do. Like I hope you follow that. But yeah, it's like my roommates and their friends and they just converse with each other so much more smoothly and so much more like emotionally intimately than I seem to manage to. And I really only have these really shallow kind of conversations with them like hey, how's it going? How's work, bro? Hey, yeah, also, I didn't really socialize much with women, um, even though I really want to make female friends, and the reason is I'm just reluctant to because of my fear of coming off as creepy. Because I'm just like nervous that I'm gonna come off as creepy and come off as this like neckbeard incel kind of guy that just kind of like causing them to like be disgusted, which is I don't know if that's in my head or not. Um, But it's really kind of just this, like, juxtaposition between, like, wearing, women's clothes and still, like, talking like a dude. Um, it just kinda, like, really, like, resembles that, like, like, negative stereotype of trans people, like, that, like, man in a dress feeling, so I kind of avoided socializing with women, so I'm not really getting far at all with the, making female friends thing. Yeah, and this is just kind of like a cycle of misery really, 'cause, my lack of socialization with with women, like, no female friends. It's kind of holding back my personality, and, that just makes it even harder to socialize with women. So just kinda this cycle of doom, really. So, just like the first point I talked about with, opportunistic socializing, with the group that I went on that, like, trip to the camp with, for the fall semester, I didn't go to any of their meetings. Maybe, like, one, but I didn't go to their meetings because, um yeah, because I just, like I only really care when it's, like, social time, if they're gonna have a movie night or if they're gonna, like, go to the skating rink or if they're gonna go on this lake trip or something, then I go like, "Oh, I have to socialize, I have to socialize." But, I don't take these, like, small consistent steps to build relationships with them by going to the meetings, by asking them to hang out, and stuff like that. Like, I'm just, like, terrible at investment like that. So it's like with this particular group, I actually, like, find myself very uninterested in, like, anything they talk about, unless there is some kind of reward for me at the end. So it's like, when they, like, talk on Discord and when they're, like, sending memes in the group chat, in the group me and stuff, like, it's like I get so annoyed, like, that I just turn on do not disturb on my phone because I do not care about anything that they're talking about, and I just wanna focus on the work that I'm doing, especially with Adderall when I'm taking ADHD meds, like, you know, that like, the group me notifications dinging on my phone, there's distractions, right? But as a result of that, like, I didn't build relationships with them. I just kind of like I'm still am like kind of just this outside kind of spectator who just kind of tags along with them when an invite or an opportunity pops up at the last second. Yeah. So another social just to wrap up this section, there was this like a kind of like dance with that group with that club at the end of the year, and I went, and then I had to go to the bathroom, so I went to the bathroom, and then I came back to the, place where like, everybody was at, right? And then, like, half the people are gone, and then I asked, like, it's like, "Wait, why are all the women gone? Why is there only dudes here?" And then, like, some of the dudes were gone too, but, like, all the girls and some of the guys went downstairs, like, outside to take pictures, right? And while I was in the bathroom. So, like, that's just, like, another, like, unfortunate coincidence. And it's like, "Bruh, what is this luck, man? Like, what is this incel luck, bro?" Um, alright, there's some other stuff I have in my notes, but I'm gonna skip over them. Um, let's skip over them. Holy shit, how do I pick up the pace right now? Okay, so, why what the hell? Skip, okay, yeah, so here's that YBC2 cold post. How would you rank your social skills? So, 1 is, like, I come off as weird or socially uncalibrated to, like, everyone I speak to, and that's just kinda how I was in the first half of high school and prior. In the second half of high school, I was, like, a 1 with moments of 2 here and there. And, like, I got better at social skills, and now I think I'm, like, fairly consistent as a 2. So I can hold basic conversations and come off as normal, but most of my interactions are bland and forgettable. Like, that's exactly what they are. For with almost everyone I meet, I just kinda have these very, like, shallow conversations, like, "Hey, what's your major, man? Oh, shit," like, "Oh, that professor's really hard," right? Like, stuff like that, yeah, but I'm still, like, a 1 in job interviews. Like, my job interview performance is, like it's, like, piss poor. It's just piss poor, bro. Hello, I'm a Brazilian schizophrenic ultra loser. Chad Comparado. 26-year-old, never dated a girl. My condolences. That is a very sad. Um, you rode in the trunk of a car. I actually would have found that pretty cool unless I were kidnapped, Sonoma says. Yeah. um, I just found it kind of embarrassing, because no one else has to do that. And I just kind of felt like I wasn't really like included in that social circle. I was this like extra person who, just tries to tag along with them. I'm always this like extra. I'm not really like one of the main people in that social group. Chad says, I wish I had ADHD instead of being schizophrenic. Yeah, schizophrenia is like a very severe disorder to have. Some psychiatrists say that schizophrenia is the worst mental illness someone can develop. Yeah, I believe so. It is very, very bad to have. Okay. Okay. Well, hey, sup, show you. Good to see you again. Okay. So Delita says, do you have answers to all the common interview questions prepared? It's a must if you want to do well. Yeah, that is how I prepare for interviews. I look up the common questions and some specific questions for the position and the company, and I just practice those questions. So I say them out verbally and also write down some like scripted answers, and I rehearse by talking to ChatGPT. And that's how I prepare for interviews. Um, all right, so this stream, I'm gonna, this stream, the topics of the stream is burnout, authenticity, ADHD, and getting older. So I've touched on burnout and ADHD, which is that like, when I started taking ADHD meds for the first time, there was this like honeymoon phase, right? I was super excited and motivated from just how productive I could be. I was like getting things done. I had energy. I was in a good mood. I just felt so good from I thought like I could finally be successful. Like with this medication, I could finally get my life together. But I just pushed myself a bit too hard and I bit off more than I could chew. And I ended up like experiencing a lot of stress and a lot of burnout and exhaustion. So I learned what my limits are, and sadly, my limits are not as high as I hoped. I can't really be that like ultra productive, like David Goggins, like Harvard kind of guy. Just kind of, um, have to sort of take it at a moderate pace. Um, and with ADHD, like medication really changed my life. But the side effects, though, like I'm not sure if I can continue taking the medication and like actually stick with that consistently, because it's like the crashes are just like really unbearable. The insomnia and like the withdrawals, it's just so shit. So the thing on the medication though is that like things didn't just suddenly get easy. Like of course not. Because my problem when I'm not on meds, before I took meds, the problem was that I didn't do stuff. Um the problem was just that I didn't have the motivation to do stuff. But when I started taking the meds and I started putting in the work, what was holding me back shifted from like non-execution to incompetence. So, like that's quite a humbling pill to swallow, because like I had to face the reality that like success isn't going to come quick, and even if I'm super productive on ADHD meds, then I'm still going to have to actually do the learning and still do the improving. And that's like a really like long and hard grind, and it's not fun, like, and like the reality is that I'm gonna have to suck at something for a really, really long time before I can get good at it, and that's just, being on Adderall is not all sunshine and rainbows. Like a lot of times it feels I feel like complete shit just because of how much work I have to do. And like, on Adderall, I can like sort of force myself to do that work, even if I really, really dread it. But it doesn't make it fun. It doesn't make it more interesting. It still sucks. And just I just have the mental like will to kind of push through the suck. And it is what it is, you know. That's how discipline is. Like, and another thing I want to touch on in this stream is adaptation versus authenticity, because I've been applying to jobs. I've been trying to get a job for a while, and I had to like feign a lot of positivity during these interviews. I had to sort of act like I have a much more positive and professional outlook than I really do, and because you can't like say something like negative during the job interview, right? You have to act like you are really, really enthusiastic about this work and the company and everything, like. And yeah, that's like the hard part is like balancing adaptation um with authenticity, because if you're like this negative contrarian, who's like black pilled all the time, then you're just not going to make it because nobody's going to nobody's going to accept you, right? Like, so I got to assimilate into positive society, this like normie society where positivity is all that they accept, but at what cost? Like I need to cope with this like nagging feeling of inauthenticity and just inhibitedness. Um, Another thing is like I used to be so much more creative and just so much more exploratory when I was a kid, and now like I'm not even motivated. I'm not even interested in doing a lot of the things that I used to be really interested in, and like everything kind of just feels really unfulfilling. And just like this YouTube channel, like I haven't been motivated at all to make videos and upload. But when I was a kid, like when I had a YouTube channel with like 50 subscribers, I would like make all these videos. But now like it feels like such a drag to like do anything for its own sake. And I feel like I had superpowers when I was a little kid that I don't have anymore. Delita says, I think you're on the right track with interviews. It just takes a lot of practice and a lot of luck. That's right. Wait, was I muted? Okay. I think you're on the right track with interviews. It just takes a lot of practice and a lot of luck. Yeah. Bro. My voice is like fucking sore already. Um, I'm drinking some tea to see if that makes me feel better. That's something I hate about these streams, man. Like if I talk for a long time, like my voice just starts like crapping out, bro. And it's like I just get this like mucus that's like stuck between my nose and my throat, and just it feels very uncomfortable. I just don't want to keep talking, but I kind of have to get this stream over with. So guys, Adderall, the honeymoon phase, like the first like 2 months that I was on ADHD medication, it was, it was just like an unsustainable, like, level of productivity that for me was just fucking insane. Okay, so this is a typical, like, calendar week on Adderall, and this is just me, like, tracking how I'm spending my time just so I can have an idea of, like, what I'm like on meds versus off meds, and, it's just, like, an insane amount of stuff that I'm doing every single day, and, this is not something that this is not a level of performance that I could keep up with, in the long run. So, the subjective effect of amphetamine over the course of a day. So, like there's a come up, there's a peak, there's this gradual decline, and then there's this sort of trough that's called the crash. And it just kind of goes like this as the graph shows. Um, so I take it in the morning, and then when it's up, I have more energy, I have more willpower, I can focus, I have mental clarity, and I have positive mood. Like time passes slower, and I can just like manage my time, and like time doesn't just randomly fucking pass and stuff, right? But during the crash, I actually have it's like the reverse of those benefits. During the crash, I feel my ADHD symptoms times two. Like basically, I have giga ADHD. So I'm tired, I'm restless, can't concentrate, I'm procrastinating on the smallest things, impulsive, and I just like feel like shit. I'm just irritable, depressed, like lethargic, and yeah, that really sucks. It's like you kind of have to go through this crash. Like there is no free lunch with ADHD stimulants. Um, There was something I was gonna say about the crash though, I forgot, well, I can't remember what I was going to say, so, let's go on to, next slide. So, um, there is like, although the crash is, like, complete utter shit, there is one thing that I like about the crash, and, that is that I get these introspective, like I get introspective, so I kinda, like, realize some things, and I also get these, like, cool random ideas. Um, yeah, I noticed that, when I'm on the meds, I'm a little less creative than I am when I'm not medicated, but when I crash, I have all these, like, random thoughts kinda racing in my head, and I get these cool ideas, which is kinda cool. That's, like, the only positive of the crash, basically. Some people would say that that is, like, a positive of ADHD itself. Um, now there are these, like, there's just some, like, weird thing that I also dislike about the crash, just, like, repetitious thoughts. So, during the crash, I would think a thought, and then I would just think it multiple times. I would just think it multiple times. I would just think it multiple it's kinda like what I just did right there, you know? And, it's just kind of annoying, and I don't like it, I like, when I'm on the meds, I think a thought, and I just think it once, and it's done. But then, like, when I'm off the med when I come down from it, it's like the thoughts will just replay in my head, and they kinda don't stop properly. Um, Also, I have, like, quite a bit of asymmetry in, like, my mandible, and, I have this, it's really uncomfortable. I have it with, like, the asymmetry, I can feel it with my, like, tongue and my jaw muscles and stuff. I do wanna get surgery for it, like, later, but, when I'm, like, on Adderall or Vyvanse, I don't really feel it that much, but when I crash off of it, then that becomes very, very uncomfortable. Um, and that's just kind of, one of the things with the crashes, right? It's like, um that, like, the ADHD medication helps my brain filter out distractions. It helps me filter out physical sensations that might be bothering me, right? So, well, when I'm crashing off the meds, like, I feel everything, like, I feel very uncomfortable when there's, like, a hair, like, on my face, or if, like the clothes on my body, if it's, like, itchy, I really feel it. Like, if, like, my feet are sweaty or something, like, also with, like, the muscular asymmetries and stuff in my face, I feel all of that. That stuff, that sort of extraneous noise that my brain was filtering out when I was on the meds, when I'm off the meds, that comes back, and, like double intensity, and it really, really, really sucks. So, like, with the meds, like, I want to mitigate tolerance and dependence because I absolutely do not want to get dependent on these meds, but like, taking a break from it, like, not taking meds after you take it for, like, 5 days to take, like, what's called a tolerance break or a drug holiday, it sucks. It's just, like, an utterly horrible, horrible day because, like, I'm in amphetamine withdrawal, and, Something that's like quite um hard to go through with like the whole ADHD lifestyle is just that like my outlook on life and how I feel about the world and everything, it shifts dramatically with the level of the meds going up and down. So when it's peaking, I feel very optimistic about my future. But when I crash, I feel like everything is going wrong and like everything is terrible. Um, it's just kind of hard to like have like a neutral perspective. It's just like that I really don't like the whole roller coaster thing because like one time I took the meds and then I went shopping and I bought some clothes. And when I got home, I crashed. I was crashing and I tried on the clothes that I bought earlier that day and they looked so bad. So like it even affects my like perception of myself, whether I think that I look good or not. And it is quite annoying, like not being able to be objective because I'm just sort of if I'm taking the meds, I'm just kind of oscillating every single day between being optimistic and being pessimistic. As I've talked about before, crashing and socializing don't mix. And there have been a few times on meds when I was so irritable that I was like actually scared that I might hurt someone with like if I got too angry. So I had to like I just felt like I needed to separate myself from the people around me to not be a danger to them. It's like it makes me that irritable. It's very, very, very bad. Now something with like the rebound, right? So the crash or the rebound, it's basically like you get the ADHD symptoms, but like more intense than usual. And the rebound effect or the crash, it makes me feel impulsive and have this temptation to use substances. So when I take the meds and when the meds are like on, um and I'm like productive and all that, like I don't have the urge to smoke weed. Like my desire to smoke weed completely goes away after I take Adderall. Um but when I crash, then I have the urge to smoke weed. I have the urge to like drink alcohol. I have the urge to like chase some thrill. Um, another thing I don't like with it is like the meds make me get tired earlier and feel like going to bed earlier because I'm sort of like expending more energy during the day, so I just kind of get more exhausted by the end of it. And it's like really like what is really irritating to me is that it makes me more out of sync with my roommate's sleep schedule. Um, um, this fucking stream, bro. I hate this so much. I hate this so much. How much longer can I do this? Okay. Okay, so my desired sleep schedule when I was on ADHD meds is that I wanted to start going to bed earlier, which is like before midnight because I used to have this really bad habit of staying up too late. So I wanted to start going to sleep earlier and waking up earlier. Um, but during the school year, there were like oftentimes my roommates would stay up late. And because I was irritable since I was crashing off the Adderall, that made me very, very annoyed. And also with the thing that I said, like my brain can't filter out distractions and noise during the crash. When I'm trying to sleep at like 11 p.m. and some of my roommates are out in the living room, like having a conversation, I cannot I can't sleep, and my brain will like instantly lock on to whatever to the words that they're saying. Like if I just hear like the slightest speech, my brain just instantly locks on, just takes my attention, and I can't like block it out. Um, it's just like it makes me feel so shit. Like it's like horrific insomnia. Um, not being able to sleep and just wanting some peace and fucking quiet, you know? So that really pisses me off. And what's really annoying is that like my dad, he used to always tell me like, you need to not stay up so late and wake up so late because your sleep schedule needs to be in sync with the rest of society, right? That's what he's saying. Like you need to be like synchronized with the rest of society. But like like that pisses me off because taking Adderall and waking up earlier and going to sleep earlier actually made me less in sync with the people around me because my roommates would stay up late. Right, so it's that actually made me less in sync with society, and it really pisses me off because like my dad doesn't fucking get it, and like I did what he told me to do, and I actually wanted to do that too. I actually wanted to improve my sleep schedule, but it wasn't compatible with the people around me. Um, so like with my roommates talking at night, I couldn't like ask them to keep it down because because that just kind of selfish, right? Because I've done the same thing plenty of times. Like plenty of times I've stayed up like loudly calling my friend on FaceTime and like drinking. So, I can't tell them to like keep it down at night because that I would just be a hypocrite, you know? So, yeah, that's not fair to them. So, that I couldn't do anything about it. Um, so one kind of like discipline, willpower thing I wanted to get into was just like going to the gym consistently and not really for like building muscle like I did like freshman year of college when I was really into the gym and powerlifting and stuff. I just wanted to like have a workout routine, right? But during like the time I was taking Adderall, I only like worked out like once because working out on Adderall felt dangerous. Like my heart was beating so hard and fast, I felt like I was gonna have a heart attack. And I just didn't want to do it because it just felt straight up dangerous. Um, well, one of the problems that other people have on ADHD meds is appetite suppression. That they have trouble eating when they take Adderall, and for me, I have that a little bit, but it's only very very slight for me. Like for me, my insomnia is very very bad. The stimulants give me a lot of insomnia, but they only give me a little bit of appetite suppression. So I'm glad that I can eat just fine. But I do get hungrier during the crashes, though. Um, Deleted 01 asks, "What's wrong with the stream?" Well, you see, what's wrong with the stream is that I just made it too big, and there are 20 more slides. There's actually 21 more slides that I have to go through, and I'm already an hour and 8 minutes in, and my voice is already like I just want to rest right now, But like I don't know. I'm very, very bad at concision. I can't like summarize my points in like a couple of sentences. I just keep like rambling on and on, which I'm trying to improve at. And like I'm streaming to practice to get better at communicating, but whatever, let's get on with it. So, because of like the how the meds affect my mood when I'm crashing, I see everything in a much more negative way. So there was this like horrible emotional night at the end of November when I was just like burning out and crashing out. I was having like this time management rage basically. I was just mad at myself that like even though I was taking Adderall, I still couldn't seem to manage my time properly, which that was just because back then, like during the honeymoon phase, my expectations for myself were too high. I was trying to chase like this high level of productivity to kind of make up for all the time that I lost. I was trying to make up for all the time I wasted when I was like not on the meds, right? So I was trying to like be super productive, but then I just kept getting mad at myself that I just couldn't do it. But like I should have like been happy that I was significantly more productive than I used to be, right? Like it's not gonna make me perfect, but like I still kind of have like perfectionism uh issues. Well, another thing, another something that Adderall did not entirely fix. Well, Adderall did not entirely fix my ADHD problems. And like some of these are, I'm not even gonna I shouldn't even label them as ADHD problems because these are really just sort of like discipline issues that I need to work on, right? One of them is like what I call productive procrastination. When I'm not on the meds, I'll procrastinate by like watching YouTube shorts or by just like watching YouTube videos or just consuming dopamine, right? But on the meds, I would find myself procrastinating on something I didn't want to do by doing something that is kind of productive, right? So rather than working on YouTube videos and working on some important projects, I would just go to class and sit in the lecture, right? And then like that would be my way of procrastinating on YouTube because like not my parents might not agree with this, but I think that it's a better use of my time to be making videos than to just go to class and sit in every lecture. Because a lot of time I would go to lecture and then I just kind of wouldn't really learn much. But that's just how I kind of would procrastinate, right? Because when I was on Adderall, um, I would kind of like chase this appearance of productivity rather than actually making the best use of my time. Yeah, and with the whole like high expectations and procrastination thing, like I was pretty upset about like I was upset about slow progress. And okay, wait. Well, for the previous point about productive procrastination, one of the things I would do is that I would actually precrastinate homework. That I would do homework like 5 days before it was due, and like that was because I wanted to get it done. I just wanted to like quickly get it over with so that I could take it easy later on, right? But that's kind of a cope because there's always going to be more work to do, right? And like the answer is to just like take it at a moderate pace. But with like the Adderall, I almost had like too much drive to get stuff done. I just wanted to like get it crossed off and just get it done and over with so I could like take it easy later. But that easy never came. There just kept on being more and more work to do. So I was upset about slow progress because I had this mentality that I was going to like um push myself to be super productive on Adderall just for like the first 2 months. Because I was just kind of like, okay, I'm just going to be productive for these 2 weeks and then after that I can like be moderately productive, right? Because I was trying to like quickly catch up to make up for all that lost time. But it just led to a lot of anxiety and just led to a lot of unsustainable like efforts. And like that's like a big pitfall because it's like I'm just like trying to front load everything for this like head start when like the answer, like as boring as it seems, is just moderation. So I was like, that's why that like really emotional night when I was crashing, I was just like, I was like crying about never having enough time in the day, right? Yeah, and I still have this problem because it's like I always feel like my life is kind of on hold because I don't really get into the groove of living life on like the main track. It's either that I'm always letting shit pile up, like with these weed benders, I just like neglect my obligations and let shit pile up and have a massive to-do list. And then I get into this period where I have to go like, okay, just for these 2 weeks, I'm gonna temporarily be super productive and hustle to the max to catch up. And then I can like kind of like dial it down. But like that never fucking happens, you know? It doesn't work because it's like this kind of like detour and get back on track, like quickly catch up and get this shit done and over with just for this week and the next week. Like that mindset literally like lasted for like years. Like even right now, like I have a couple of things on my calendar. Like Like, okay, I just have to get these tasks done. Just quickly get these done, and then after that, then I can get into the routine of living my like normal life. But that's like stupid. That's stupid. Like I should start living that like normal life schedule now rather than trying to like, oh wait, just for this week, I'm gonna quickly do a bunch of, but like it's really hard not to do that because that's like something that I did like the first month that I took Adderall because some of y'all might not know this because like a lot of y'all don't watch the shorts on this channel, but I made a lot of YouTube shorts. I made like 10 shorts in a month. And that was because I haven't made videos for a long time. So when I took Adderall, I wanted to quickly make a bunch of YouTube videos to just like get my channel back up and running, right? But by the time that I finished cranking out all these shorts, then I was like just so sick of YouTube that I just didn't want to make another video for a long time. I was just so sick of it because I had like overexerted myself on that thing, you know? And like, the thing is with life, like you just gotta be okay with spending lots of time every day doing work only to make progress that feels slow. You know, like it's important to be consistent and the progress might feel extremely slow. And, I might want to try to speed it up and do like, okay, these 3 days, I'm just gonna like max out and make a ton of YouTube videos. But that's a trap. That's a trap because that doesn't work in the long run, and I need to like, get good at being consistent, which is like even on Adderall, it's like a huge problem of mine. Um, okay. All right, Krellian asks when I've tried to main track my life, I hit burnout really fast, physical exhaustion. That really sucks, man. Yeah. Um, so what I don't mean that like main track is like being super productive. Like what I was saying is like main track is like a moderate pace that you can handle in the long term. Um that's what like I think we all should try to do um in general. All right, so for this fuck. Okay, well long story short, this was a community post that I wrote in December of 2025. And for the last 2 months at this point, I had been on Adderall. And then I stopped. And I got high on weed. And then, um, yeah. Wait, well, before I got off the ADHD meds, I actually substituted with this research chemical analog of modafinil that I bought off the internet. Which worked worse than Adderall and caused way more insomnia because of its extremely long half-life. And that's why I can't take it every day. But the modafinil analog also caused a night of massive irritability. So like the irritability during the crash is kind of a problem with all stimulants for me. Um, the Adderall come down is it's usually sad and a little irritable, sometimes very irritable, but mostly it's sadness. But with the modafinil come down, I was very irritable. It's sort of irritability was almost like the core feature of modafinil come down. And that like night when I was crashing out at my roommates, that was actually a modafinil come down. And I was only taking this modafinil because I had run out of ADHD medication. Um, but I didn't want to like go back and like get another psychiatry appointment because like the whole I had like $700 of bills I had to pay. So which actually my mom paid for, which very kind of her. And I'm I'm trying to like save money on the ADHD treatment because she works hard enough and I don't want to be a leech. But like Thanksgiving week at the end of November, that's when I like really burned out and relapsed on weed. Um so I ignored my obligations, I dropped important tasks, and I just set myself up for failure. So, in the previous 2 months, I was using Adderall to do a lot of work for this school project. Um, for this project for this class, right? But I was, like once I got off the meds and I just like fell back into that like whole weed cycle. I was just too overwhelmed by how hard and complicated it was. So I literally just stopped doing the project. And it got so bad. Like my focus was so poor that I couldn't even like work on a presentation slides. So I just kind of like left it to the rest of my group members, which is like hella irresponsible, like I just kind of dropped off at the end of that semester. Um and the thing is I got high on the day of the presentation and I just didn't even show up. I didn't show up to the presentation day, right? And yeah, because I thought that that morning was a good time to actually get crossfaded. So I got drunk and high, and I got a 0, and the hangover was really bad too. And one of my group members asked me if I was okay, but I was too lazy and also pretty ashamed, so I didn't even respond. Um, and I didn't do a major assignment on time, and the 0 took my grade in the class down from an A to a C. And there's this. I was also involved in an extracurricular where I was helping this group code a game, and yeah, I kind of didn't do that. And like the worst part is that I didn't even show up to the presentation when they were showcasing the game. They were presenting the finished game. I was like looking forward to that all semester, and I just missed it. I missed it because I didn't check the dates like when they were going to present. And I only found out after the presentation, and I was kicking myself, Like, yeah, and like, also issues with interviewing, like, I was about to interview well, I actually did interview I interviewed, with an internship that I didn't get, right? And, it was around this time that the, interviewer actually offered to talk to me about how to improve at interviewing and other opportunities in their company, and I was, like, looking forward to that too, but then I procrastinated. I kept, like, you know, I kept, like, procrastinating, and I almost got to calling him, and then I just kinda ignored him, and then he kinda ignored me because I ghosted him, so he ghosted me, like so I lost out on that, and then, I also procrastinated really hard on recording a video that I needed to submit to apply to another internship, so I just didn't apply to that, you know? I also ended up missing out on a social event, and, like, bro, like when I like got off stimulants and I just started like binging on weed, like my life was just completely fucking falling apart. Like I barely knew what day it was. Like I was like consuming so much cannabis that like I didn't know what day it was. I didn't know what time it was. I just kind of stayed high and just like lazed around in bed until I fell asleep and I just smoked more when I woke up. So I just ordered DoorDash almost every day to satisfy my munchie cravings, which totaled to like hundreds of dollars worth of fast food. Um, so my bank account balance drained as trash piled up in my bedroom and dirty dishes and forks and shit piled up in the kitchen sink. And bro, like that was like a horrible bender, like everything that I've been building up with the help of Adderall for the first 2 months of this semester, at the end it just kind of crashed and burned because I regressed to like the worst of my old habits. Um, yeah, but part of it is it's not just weed, it's also with burnout because with like the school project for class, I was like I made it, like, really ambitious. I had a really ambitious plan because I wanted to make it super duper cool and like sophisticated, right? But like I had to know my limits that even on Adderall, I can't push myself that hard. Um, okay, so here's another community post, and this one is about 3 months ago. So this community post was a separate weed bender. So like I just had these like periods of just like binging and binging weed. So this was a period where I was just binging weed, food, and instant gratification all day long. And in this particular binge, it's this just shows how bad it was and how bad weed affects my motivation and really just how self-destructive it is because my motivation was getting really bad. So I sent my friend $50 and I asked her to give it back to me only if I responded to several people's texts, which I had been procrastinating on, right? So, but then I got high and I didn't do it. So I lost the 50 bucks. But then the next day, I raised the stakes. I sent her 200 bucks and I asked her to return 50 bucks of those 200 if I went to class and 150 bucks if I went to the Chipotle job interview. But then I got high. So I didn't make it to class and I canceled the interview. So I ended up losing $250. Um, that it was just like purely self-inflicted because I got high and I could not motivate myself to follow through with my commitments. Um, yeah, so this is just that really like reminds me of the lyrics of this song, Because I Got High by Afro Man. So the lyrics kind of go like, I was gonna pay child support, but then I got high. I was gonna pay my taxes, but then I got high. So like that's kind of how it goes, but it's really funny because that's exactly like what it was for me. Like when I'm just like consuming copious amounts of weed, my motivation is so bad that like it's like I was gonna go to the job interview, but then I got high. You know what I mean? So yeah, heartbreaking indeed. But I'm glad to tell you that it's getting better now. I've been abstaining from weed, and I plan to do so for the whole summer. All right, so yeah, my ADHD medication journey has not really been continuous. I've been on meds for periods and I've been off meds for periods, and this is just mainly because of financial problems. I just wasn't able to. I had not found affordable provider to be able to prescribe these meds without breaking the bank. So I took 4 months off ADHD meds after that initial kind of honeymoon period, and then I restarted ADHD meds, right? The second semester of college of this year, and I was less motivated, because it kind of wasn't the honeymoon phase anymore. I wasn't really that excited because I kind of know what the meds do, and I kind of knew that I knew what my limits were, and and that kind of sucked. I was not as productive as I was the first time, and well, 4 months off. Well, during those 4 months was winter break, in which I was living back home with my family. And my dad, well, I told my dad that I got on ADHD medication and it really helped me. And he just kind of didn't really get it, He kind of didn't really believe in the whole like pharmaceutical route, and just he just told me that I needed to just use willpower, right? Which is like pretty damn annoying. But I was motivated. I wanted to show him that I could make it. I wanted to show him that I could take these meds and I could change my life and I could get it together. But like I kept getting in my own way with the weed shit, like every time I went for like a month or so being productive and doing what I was supposed to do on the meds, I would kind of just burn out and then just go back to smoking a bunch of weed all the time. And then I would kind of undo my progress and I had to start back at square one. Okay, so this second like trial on ADHD meds, like the first time it was like the honeymoon phase. Like I would, I was so happy, I was so productive that I was like finally getting my stuff done, right? But the second time I like when I restarted meds, the second trial, it was so much drier, because I just kind of had to sort of face the reality that, homework sucks. Applying for jobs, that sucks. Like I just had to do the work even though I didn't feel like it. I didn't enjoy it, but I just had to like kind of do the work, right? And like when I was doing my homework for like one of my classes, I just felt so miserable, and I was just it was such a drag. It was so dry. But I kept like pushing myself to keep going to finish the assignment. And like that I just wondered, like, is this just how it's gonna be? Like off the meds, I'm not doing my work and I'm being lazy. But when I'm on the meds, I'm just forcing myself to do these extremely dry and uninteresting tasks that gives me no happiness whatsoever. And like this is what discipline is. This is what delayed gratification is. Kind of is, like what did I expect, right? Like amphetamine is very, very good for motivation. It's very, very good for focus. But there's no shortcut to the daily grind of delayed gratification, you know? And, like, this is just kinda dawned on me, like, this is just how adult life is gonna be. Like, if I'm gonna achieve my goals and stuff, this is what it's gonna be, and it's gonna fucking suck donkey balls. And, like, I'm just, like, not looking forward to the future anymore, you know? Yeah, as for tolerance, um, the ADHD meds, like, not working over time, like, I definitely did have tolerance, but I came to realize that it's primarily due to sleep debt buildup due to insomnia. Like, the reason why ADHD meds, like, kind of kept working less and less and less, if I took them for, like, a few weeks, it's mainly actually because of sleep deprivation, not really, like, directly due to the drug tolerance. And it got easier for me to sleep on the meds the longer I took them because I was sleep deprived, because I was sleep deprived. Like, one time I took Vyvanse, and I had to, like, go to the library and study for this exam, right? And I just, like, got so exhausted, just, like, in the middle of it, I just put my head down, and, I just, like, felt like taking a nap, but I didn't take a nap because I couldn't fall asleep because I was on Vyvanse, which was it just sucked, like, another time I was on Vyvanse, I went to this engineering meeting about, like, how to do, like, Arduino stuff, and I was so exhausted, like, man, it sucked, because I was taking the meds almost every day, and it's just like the sleep deprivation, man, it's like really bad for you in the long run, bro. Um, you know, but with the whole like delayed gratification part, like before I was like consistently putting in all this effort from like taking the meds, um, like my non-execution led me to think that what it takes to succeed is kind of trivial. Like, if only I just did work, imagine where I'd be today, right? If I could just simply execute the blueprint that I already had in my head, I could be all set. I could be set for life. But like, I was super happy that finally started like showing up to the practice, right? I'm not literally playing a sport. I'm just an analogy, I was finally showing, like, my problem before is that I didn't show up to practice. So I thought, man, imagine how good of a sports player I could be if I just showed up to practice, right? Like, if I just show up, it would be like I would be all set, right? But now, like, when I'm on the meds, I start showing up to the practice, but then I actually have to play the sport, and I sucked. And And if I suck, then I have to like wait for months and or years before I'll be good at the sport. And like that's kind of like the disappointing experience, you know? Like the hardest part isn't the motivation anymore. The hardest part isn't getting started anymore. The hardest part is improving at the skill. And there's no shortcut for that, you know? Like the one time I was on the meds and I was trying to learn something for this like cybersecurity class. And I was like reading over the slides and I was like, bro, I can't learn any of this stuff. I can't remember any of this stuff. And like, well, like the reality is I just need to adjust my expectations. Like Adderall is not a magic smart pill. Like I need to start using study techniques. Like I can't expect to be able to instantly learn just because I had the motivation to open up the PowerPoint, you know? Like there's no way around that. All right. Um Deleted says you just got to get out of your own way, man. Keep hustling, keep grinding, put your blinders on like a racehorse. Yeah, funny, Jeremy Meeks reference, bro. I can't wait for this fucking stream to be done and over with, bro. Oh, man. Okay, so now to talk about some of the interesting and quite positive effects of ADHD medication. ADHD medication changed my personality somewhat, and it kind of felt like it's not even the real me, you know? And so like one of the things is like I used, you know, like how I normally am is that I'm just kind of I have this like sort of like life ends at 25 kind of like you only live once kind of mindset, you know. Like but when I'm on the meds, I start caring about long term. Like I don't think life ends at 25 anymore. I think like it's actually worth it to keep living to 30. And it's actually worth it to keep building up my financial future and stuff. Like I start thinking long term, which is like exactly what the medication's supposed to do. But, like, that feels so unlike me, you know? I'm not this, like, adult who cares about adult life, you know? Like, I feel like the real me is this party girl who just wants to party all the time, you know? Um, and, I think that, like, the ADHD medication giving me sort of, like, more control over my behavior, it is worth it because I can use that motivation to do things to intentionally change my personality into what I want it to be. Right, so if I don't like how the meds change my personality, I can use the motivation that the meds give me to change my personality. Like, isn't that like a that's like such a powerful tool, you know? Um, so in Andrew Huberman's video about Adderall and stimulants and ADHD, he described the role of the prefrontal cortex in the brain as kind of like an orchestra conductor. You know, like an orchestra conductor can go like, "Hey, you over there, the violin players, let's hear more from you, and over there, the harps and like the cellos, you can quiet down a little bit." You know, it's kind of like that. And so the prefrontal cortex can ramp up circuits in the brain to make you concentrate on something, and it can also quiet down other circuits in the brain to um, prevent you from getting distracted by some irrelevant things. And one really nice effect of Adderall and Vyvanse is that it makes me less bothered by physical discomfort, like itchiness, like or if like some hair is stuck to my face because of static, or if my clothes are uncomfortable, if my back is sweating, you know, because like the prefrontal cortex is kind of going like shh, be quiet, be quiet. Let's you know that noise is being filtered, you know, it's being suppressed. And the crash, however, is the opposite of that, and it's, like, pretty bad. But you know what's interesting about the whole, like, quieting down of this sort of, external noise is that, like, it made me realize something about authenticity and about realism. And this is one of the main points that I wanted to talk about in this stream. it's that authenticity is, like, I basically just, like, learned what authenticity is. I kinda gained a new perspective on what authenticity means, because the ADHD meds give me this focused state of mind where, like, it suppresses the other stuff that's not relevant to the task at hand. So when I'm answering these job application questions, I have to answer them, like, professionally and not be all negative and stuff, right? I actually feel like less of a liar because of the medication. Because here's the thing, like, people don't just have, like, one belief and one emotion about every topic. Like, most people have, like, multiple competing beliefs and conflicting emotions, and the medication helps me like, focus on just one side of, the conflicting stuff in my mind. So there's a part of me that wants to get a job and advance my career. And there's another part of me that goes like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, there's no point. Like, oh, life sucks as a wagey anyway, you know?" The medication allows me to sort of focus in on the first belief and kind of suppress the second belief. And it doesn't feel inauthentic. It doesn't feel like I'm lying. And this is something called salience. Like, salience is basically how important your brain perceives something to be. So like, it's like quite eye-opening because, like, in this debate, where a CEO of testosterone was debating wheat waffles, where, like, CEO of testosterone was talking about the importance of hard work, how believing in yourself is so important, right? And wheat waffles was saying, like, no, genetics, like, genetics is more important, and like, some people can work really hard and they're never going to make it. So, like, I have, like, both of these types of beliefs in my head, and if I'm, like, focused on a task that requires me to say positive things, like a job interview, the ADHD meds help my brain lower the salience of those thoughts that say, "Oh, it's your genetics, like, hard work doesn't pay off." So it allows me to give these, like, positive, kind of blue-pilled responses without really feeling deeply inauthentic. And, like, yeah, it changed my perspective on it. So I don't think that blue pill is as delusional as I used to. I think, and this is, y'all put in the chat, like, what you think about this, because I really wanted to like, share this with you, with y'all, that, like, I used to think that blue pill, like, being all positive and thinking that, like, hard work will pay off. I used to think it's just a delusion because people are just ignoring genetics. They're just ignoring the, like, circumstances, like your socioeconomic status and your IQ and stuff. That they're just like being deluded and just being positive, you know. But now I don't think it is. I think it's focus. That everyone who's not like an idiot knows that, like, your circumstances affect your chances of success. Like, everyone knows that. Even the most blue-pilled people know that if you, like, if you're ugly or if you're poor, then you're gonna have a harder time, but they choose, like, these normies, these neurotypical normies, they choose to use their focus to purposely focus on the positive side of what they believe. So blue pill really is a form of focus, and it's not really so much a delusion, although it can be, but when I'm using Adderall to focus on the beliefs I have that will help me get this task done, that's not delusion. That's adaptation, and I think that that is such a powerful thing. And like, ADHD medication really changed my perspective quite a bit on like black pill, red pill, and blue pill. These pills are actually different forms of focus. Just took a sip of water. Yeah, so another thing that the ADHD meds help me do is to kind of it helps me with voice training to like do a feminine like female voice or a male voice or you know it kind of like ADHD kind of not ADHD but the medication helps me kind of focus and lock into one gendered state of mind. So yeah, it's like if I take the meds and I'm in like this sort of like male state of mind and I have to you know put on this kind of like that's like the version of me that I want to show to the world. It kind of makes me just feel that that's me and I kind the gender dysphoria is kind of suppressed. But if I start my day and I take the meds and I want to like you know really practice using my female voice um like throughout the day, it helps me do that too. It just kind of locks me into whatever gender I'm feeling like when I'm taking the meds. um so I think that's pretty cool, you know, like ADHD medication helps you focus on pretty much anything. And you and I learned that I could focus on things that I never thought that I could focus on. So, you know, here's why I doctor hopped and why I stopped the meds. It's because of money. So my first psychiatrist, this was in August when I first saw her. She was the one who diagnosed me with ADHD, and the appointments with this office um for two telehealth appointments was $700 plus. Um, so here's the reason I stopped, right? So in August, that first appointment was when I got diagnosed with ADHD, and she prescribed me a medication, but there was a shortage and there was this availability problem where like a whole month later the meds were still not available. So that's when the follow-up was supposed to be. So in the follow-up appointment, I got her to prescribe me a different medication, and then she asked me to come back in another month for a third appointment, and that would be the follow-up, you know, after I actually started taking the meds. So the first two appointments were already 700 plus dollars. And that is why I could not come back. I just could not afford to come back for a third appointment. Um, you know, so I just stopped meds. So then I moved to this second psychiatrist. And when I was you know, trying to switch out of the first psychiatrist, I was making some calls to some psychiatrist in my area, and I found the second psychiatrist, but their next appointment was in January of this year. Right, so this was, like, I think in, like, November or December when I was trying to look for a psychiatrist, and I had to wait until 2026 to be able to get that second appointment, to be able to get to that the first appointment for the second psychiatrist. So, this one was more affordable. For 2 appointments was 500 plus dollars, though, but it was still you know, I was gonna look for another one because I ended up getting slapped with this $500 plus bill. And I didn't have enough money to pay it off all at once, so I was gonna, like, pay it off, like, $100 per month at, like, just take, like, 5 months plus to pay it off. And, yeah, for that reason, I just kinda thought it was kind of, like I thought that I couldn't kind of come in for another appointment because that kinda would be kinda, like, rude, wouldn't it? Because I have this, like, outstanding debt, and I kinda just can't come in for free, right? You know, like yeah, so no, I left them, and I'm still paying off this bill. So then I made an appointment with a PCP in my area, and I wanted to see him in person. So I went in and, at the receptionist, um, I was quoted that the, visit would cost $200 after insurance. So then I just canceled and walked out. So, I thought maybe I can apply for financial assistance at this sliding scale clinic, but it didn't work because I was disqualified for having insurance. So then I applied for Medicaid and, you know, fat chance that's gonna work. But this is what I just did a few days ago, which is that I called another PCP in my area, and the visit was estimated over the phone to cost 150 to $250. So, you know, it could be more expensive than the other PCP or cheaper. So I just said, "Hey, fuck it. Let's I'm just gonna take what I can get because I have to get these meds." So, this one was, like, actually, quite surprisingly easy. The doctor prescribed Vyvanse on the very first visit, and, like, I didn't really have to do much paperwork at all. I just kinda had to fill out this questionnaire, and then they said that that was enough. Like, they didn't really even need my medical records from the previous psychiatrist. I was like, "What? That's it? Okay. Okay, so, yeah." Though, I'm anxiously waiting to see what that bill is gonna be, and, if it's gonna be $250, that's gonna fucking suck. But you see, what's good about this one is that unlike the psychiatrist, I don't have to come in for a 1-month follow-up. Like the psychiatrists were like, I have to come in for a 1-month follow-up, and then after that, I can come in every 3 months. But for the PCP, I can just come in once every 3 months right from the get-go. So, like, there's a lot less upfront cost, and for that reason, I think that this is the option I'm gonna stick with, as long as that bill isn't too expensive. But, like, I'm not looking forward to getting back on meds, not really, like, the honeymoon phase is over, and, like, this is just something that I have to do in order to be functional. It's like the sad mood of the crashes, like the depression that comes every night if I take the meds in the morning, like, and the physical symptoms too, of, like, the withdrawals and the inability to, like, do anything and focus. It's just so unbearable, like. And also, like furthermore, like the ADHD med lifestyle requires a lot of like maintenance work in order to like take care of the side effects, right? So I need to use dry mouth lozenges on Adderall or Vyvanse to not have bad breath because the stimulants cause dry mouth. And I also got a mouth guard from the dentist to protect my teeth from grinding at night. Because bruxism, grinding your teeth is something that the stimulants might cause. And I also have to take melatonin and a vitamin C pill at night to have any hope of sleeping. Melatonin is a hormone that helps you, get tired. It tells your brain it's time to get sleepy, and it like plays a role in your circadian rhythm. Vitamin C makes your body, like, excrete, amphetamine faster. So, if I take the meds, then I take a vitamin C pill at night in order to help my body flush out the drugs faster so I can get to sleep on time. But it's stuff like this, right? There's so much, like, maintenance work involved in keeping up this ADHD med lifestyle. And it's like, bro, I'm not looking forward to it anymore, man. It's such a drag, It's so much fucking work, bro. Um, well, this is just like an extra tidbit is that like um with this like last PCP that I saw, I heard that like Walmart pharmacy has like more affordable generics. So like I asked them to like send the prescription to the Walmart pharmacy rather than the CVS I was using before. But I didn't do enough research, so I didn't even know that the Walmart pharmacy does not accept discount cards for controlled substances. So that was pretty stupid. So yeah, and like I asked them to switch it back to the CVS because I didn't do my research. All right, slide 15. We're halfway fucking there, bro. I'm gonna go pour myself some more tea. So the three people watching this shitty stream, bro, y'all can like, bro. All right, well, I'll be right back. Yep, that's right. No one's watching. No one's watching. Man, this sucks. Like, do I have to make videos about Black Pill for people to tune in? Because it seems, because like with the stream with Drathan and like everything else, it's like my audience only wants to watch black pill videos. And it's like I'm still gonna make some videos about looks and black pill and stuff, but I don't want that to be like all my channel is about, you know? And if I'm talking about like mental health or self-improvement or anything other than black pill and looks, it's like nobody fucking wants to watch. You know, that's kind of just kind of annoying, you know, like how come because like it's not like this with aesthetics waiting, you know, like aesthetics waiting has been making a lot of videos about like society and politics and culture, and his audience likes watching those videos, right? And, like he doesn't only make black pill videos, so why can't I talk about other stuff? Like maybe it's just this particular topic. Like a lot of people just don't care about ADHD if they don't have it themselves, which is understandable. M Dog says, "Accept me, bro." Well, hey, I appreciate you for watching. Spooky7 is watching. Yeah, two whole ass people watching, bro. Yep, two people watching. Let's yeah. That's the party, guys. How's the party looking? Oh man, it's the worst gender ratio I've ever seen, bro. Well, unless I count. All right, so this is one person watching. How did it go down? Okay, damn, damn. That's sad, but I'm gonna keep pushing on. We got to get the stream done. So, childhood superpowers is yeah. Um I just you know, when I was a kid, like 10 years old and shit, I was like so creative and so exploratory and I was so internally motivated, you know? And like I did a lot of things that I would find so hard to find the motivation to do now. You know, I would like build stuff with Legos. I would like write stories, you know, that were like really like long and drawn out and stuff, you know, and now I can't even bring myself to write a community post. I used to like, you know, make YouTube videos without even treating it like a task. It wasn't work to me, you know, it was just something I did for fun. I would like make comics. I would like draw. I would do so much stuff. I would create and it wasn't difficult. It wasn't energy consuming, you know? But now, like, you know, at the ripe old age of 21, it's so if I feel like nothing is interesting anymore. Like I'm just not as creative as I was before either. Like I just don't come up with the same quality of like unique ideas anymore. And everything feels like a task. Making YouTube videos is a task. It's work. I have to get disciplined enough to make videos. You know, like making music and working on coding projects. All that stuff is a task. I have to get the willpower and muster up that willpower to like do the thing, right? But when I was like 11 years old, I would just get home from school, like code up a game because I felt like it. It didn't feel like work. But now everything feels like work and I don't have any hobbies anymore. You know, like I can't say that YouTube or music is a hobby because I rarely, first of all, I seldom ever do them. And second, it's not a hobby if you're not having fun. You know, like people say, like, hey, this like if your hobbies have deadlines, they ain't hobbies. And like if I don't like push myself to like get this video out by a deadline, then I'm not going to make the video, right? Um yeah, it just sucks, you know. I just wish that I had that kind of internal motivation and that like creativity that just was like inherent to my childhood. I just kind of lost it, you know. And the thing about like creativity though, It's like I used to kind when I was a kid, I just kind of like I thought of like original solutions. I thought of these like out of the box approaches to solving problems, right? And now, like, my brain doesn't seem to really be able to do that anymore. Like, one example is that only like a month ago, I watched this like YouTube short, and it's the first time that I learned that I can put a bra on by putting it on around my waist and then pulling it up and then turning it 180 degrees, right? And that way I could close the clamps at the front in front of me, and then I could rotate it around so the clamps are at the back. And I was like, "Oh, that makes so much sense. That's how you're supposed to put on a bra." Because the whole time I thought that you were supposed to clip the clips behind your back. Like, and it was so hard for me to do. I could just never like clip the clips behind my back. But you're not actually supposed to clip them behind you. You're supposed to clip them in front of you and then turn the bra around. It's like, bro, how am I this dumb? Like, I felt so dumb because it's like, how did I not realize this in 2 years of wearing bras, bro? Like any creative person with like half a brain could have figured it out pretty quickly. Like where's the thinking outside the box? Where's the coming up with solutions to problems? How do you not how can you not figure out that you can simply turn the bra around that and it makes it much easier? Like, bro, like I'm like fucking like disappointed at my like lack of intelligence and just like uncreativity here, you know? Spooky says that gets beaten out of you when you join the workforce low. Perhaps, maybe being an assembly line worker, makes you less creative, but like, why can't you still be creative when you're outside the workforce, right? Like, because I haven't even had a job yet. I'm still looking for work right now. Still looking for my first job. So, like for me at least, like my loss of creativity it just seemed to come with age, and completely independent of like the workforce and stuff. The Madog says, I'm not nearly as much of a hard worker as you are, but my phone raped my attention span and made everything harder. Yeah, it's always that damn phone. I should get off that phone, bro. I mean, like, I agree with that. I really do. Like, it's cliche, but there's truth to it because when I was a kid and I was so creative, like, I was the most creative when I didn't have a phone. And I was, well, when I had a phone, I was still creative, But so there's some of it came with age, but some of it did come with like consuming content constantly, because when I was bored and I didn't have like quick access to like dopamine, like YouTube Shorts and stuff, I would be bored and I would like quell my boredom by being creative. So I would like build something out of Legos or something like that, right? But now if I'm feeling bored, I just reach for my phone and I go on YouTube. So, like, there is definitely, like, value to, like, refraining from, like, kind of looking for easy ways to get rid of boredom, and a lot of creativity really comes out of boredom. It does. You know, um, I just wish I was as motivated as I was when I was a kid to make YouTube videos, because and make music, because like, everything now is just, like, scheduled task that I have to put on my calendar and muster up the motivation to, like, do, and it's like it's not even a hobby anymore, bro, you know? And also with the energy thing, like, when I was a kid, I had so much energy, like, I could wake up at 7 AM and go to school for 7.5 hours and maybe even do some extracurricular after school activities, and I could get home and I would still have energy to do stuff all the way until bedtime. I would have enough energy to, like, go outside and, like, ride my bike and, like, code something, build something, and, like, I had so much energy, and even if I was sleep deprived, I could still function just fine, you know? But now, like, if I just get 1 hour less sleep than I need, my focus is shot for the entire day. You know, like, it just sucks now. And I used to be a night owl too. Like, I used to, like, do my best work at night. That's when I was the most productive, and that's when I really, like, got a lot of creative output was at night. But now I'm not a night owl. Like, I can't do shit at night, you know? I'm very, very, like, lethargic and tired and unfocused during, like, the evening hours of, like, 10 PM and stuff. I can't do shit. And that used to be, like, my peak, you know, level, but now I can't do anything. So I get tired way earlier now, you know, so it's like once I start working full time, like, I'm just concerned that I'm not gonna have the energy for anything else. That's, like, a huge disadvantage for success, you know, because like, how am I supposed to work on my own on pursuing my own goals if you know, if even just having a job is too much for me to handle, know what I mean? And that's the thing, like, I noticed this, like, energy, like, regression during college too. Like, each year, like, my university has this, like, hackathon event, which is like an overnight coding event where we, like, code as teams to try to, like, compete to make the best app and stuff, you know? And, every hackathon, my stamina is less than the previous years. You know, I'm losing energy capacity with age and at a very young age to be going through this, and, like, the outlook does not look good. And, like, with that, like, the club that I've been hanging out with a lot at college, like, one time I met this guy who, like, he just has, like he still has that, like, kid level of energy with him, you know? Like, this guy, he told me, like, he woke up at, like, 7 AM, he had work, and he went to school, and he's socializing, and he's dancing at midnight to 1 AM. Like, how does he do that? Is he on meth? You know, it's like, how the hell are you dancing and, like, all excited at 1 AM, and you did all that stuff the whole day, and you wake up early, like, bro, like, some people are just built different, you know? But, like, I was kinda built like that when I was, like, a kid, but not anymore, and, like, why not? Because other people still have this, and I lost it. I'm just sad because I don't wanna have to say bye-bye to all my aspirations as soon as I enter the workforce, because I just don't really have the mental energy left over to do, you know, anything more than the bare necessities now. Like like, this post on r/adulting is really relatable to me, is like, how do people have energy after 8 to 5 job? Like, I just started my first full-time job, which is 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, and I'm just like, how do people have energy? How do people have energy to go home after working to cook and clean? How do people have energy to take care of kids or pets? How do people have energy to spend on their own hobbies, such as reading books or hanging out with their friends? I already had trouble with this when I was in college, and now it's longer hours. Any tips for how to find the energy? So this is a very, very upvoted post, and there's a lot of replies that, like, relate to the post, and, like, a lot of people feel this way, you know, like, I'm just, like, a really, like, low spoon person, and, like, a lot of people can relate to this, like, so, like, the whole, like, spoon thing is, like, just a metaphor for, like, how much fuel you have in the tank, you know, and, like, every task that you do throughout the day is gonna consume a little bit of fuel, you know, and, if like, I'm just somebody who just doesn't really have a lot of fuel in the tank, so, like, I don't have the energy to do a whole lot of stuff every single day, um, unless I take, like, Adderall or Vyvanse, but even then, like, there's the whole, like, sleep deprivation problem and the tolerance problem and just, like, you know, even then, I'm kind of not able to be as productive as I want to be if I'm taking it at a sustainable pace. It just sucks donkey balls, bro. I keep saying that fucking term. I, like, read that once when I was, like, 8, bro. Hey, stop. You know, like, even when medicated, like after that honeymoon phase wears off, like I feel like I can't even mentally handle the stress of just interviewing and doing some homework, you know? Like I'm just like and other people, like the people around me, like these people in that like Christian org I was talking about, like they why does it seem like they're on Adderall all the time? You know? Like how do other people have so much energy? Like they like the people around me have the energy that I need drugs to be able to even hope to get to. Like, man, I mean, guys, you know what's like really like just kind of depressing really is because like this is my fourth year of university and I do have to do one more year because I slacked off with all that weed for like during my junior year and sophomore year, even though I wasn't doing any substances, like I was depressed and my motivation was so bad that I failed a bunch of classes. So I have to do a fifth year in college, right? And even then, I still have like senioritis right now. I feel like I can't wait for school to be over, right? And the problem with that kind of attitude is that like we all want to like we all see the appeal in school being over. It's like the relief from the effort and the time that school takes. Well, obviously you'll have work, but like besides that, you don't have to do any worksheets and stuff anymore, right? But here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. If you stop putting in time and effort to learn once you graduate, then you're not going to learn new skills, right? And you're just going to turn into this like stagnating, ignorant loser. So if you eliminate everything you hate about school, which is repetition, discipline, note taking from your life, like you're not going to be good at anything. So like the reality is, even though school is over, if you want to be a knowledgeable and skilled person, you'll still have to school yourself. Like successful people govern their days pretty similar to school. They sit down and they focus their attention, scheduling and time boxing multiple subjects a day on the calendar, and they take notes, they read, they put their phone away. Successful people kind of make themselves kind of like go through a almost school-esque kind of day. And and that's like what's pretty depressing, right? Because everything that I hate about school is something that I'm gonna have to manually do to myself if I want to be successful. So the reality is that the whole senioritis thing is like, oh, I can't wait for school to be over. It's a cope. Like, if you really do stop doing all that stuff, then you're never gonna learn anything, right? If you want to be successful, you're still like the rest of your life is still going to include everything that you hate about school. And like that's why like it's depressing because life never gets easy enough to not be stressful and draining. Like if you're not marching ahead, you're sliding back. If you don't train your skills, you get rusty. And like I'm always as a like a very very like low spoons kind of person who doesn't have a lot of energy anymore. I always have to sort of push myself to the limit. I have to exert myself far more than what feels comfortable, even bearable, just to even like get by, you know? Like and like the whole thing is like seeking comfort and wanting an easy life is kind of immature and lazy, really. Like, you have to work hard and be disciplined to be successful, right? But I'm thinking like, is adult life just supposed to be decades of yearning for relief? Like toiling and exerting yourself day in, day out just to maintain your miserable existence, like just to be able to pay the bills and put food on the table, and you never get relief. You know what I mean? Like, is that what life is supposed to be? Because this ain't it. 'Cause, like, Rehab Room, like, said famously, "Life is one big high school," and he was talking about the social dynamics and how looks and popularity always matter, and they never stop mattering. They don't stop mattering just because you graduated high school. But, like, it's so true because, like, life is one big high school in other ways too, like, if you want to make it, you have to do all that school stuff. You have to take notes. You have to put your phone away. You have to read books. You have to sit down and just write and stuff. You know what I mean? Like that is what that is. And you're gonna have to do things that you don't want to do. Um, and like, well, when you like retire, and I guess you don't have to like work a job, but like, yeah, have fun being an old hag with your health problems and chronic pain, bro. Yeah, that must be fun, like, you only get relief from, like, the nonstop grind when you have a bunch of health problems that you want relief from too. Wow, wow. Retirement, like, it's like life after childhood is just constantly craving for relief that never comes. That's what it feels like, really. That's what it feels like, really, you know? Like, I really hope that I don't have to get on dialysis at 50 because of all the chronic kidney damage from all the meds I'm taking. Okay, so this chart is like how I felt when I was a kid. So on the x-axis, we have tasks that use effort and that use energy. And it's not necessarily something that's like exhausting and draining, but just something that you have to kind of like actively put in a little bit of work to do, like making a YouTube video or building a Lego or something. And then there's something that doesn't take effort and doesn't use energy, right? And then on the y-axis, we have things that are enjoyable and things that are not enjoyable. So if something is enjoyable and it exerts effort and uses energy, that's called a hobby, right? So something like skateboarding would be a hobby. Something like playing a musical instrument would be a hobby because you have to put in some work to do that, but it's something that you enjoy. If it doesn't, if you're an activity that doesn't take any effort, doesn't use any energy, is enjoyable, that is relaxation. So it's kind of like eating some popcorn and watching a movie. If something is not enjoyable and it uses effort and exerts energy, then that's work, right? And if it's not enjoyable and it doesn't take any effort, then you're just bored. So, and yeah, that makes sense. But what's changed is that since high school, um, I know I started to like since high school, things have changed, and I no longer find much of anything fall into the first quadrant. Like there's not anything that I do that exerts effort and uses energy that is also enjoyable. Like literally nothing. All of what I used to call my hobbies is now in the same quadrant as work. YouTube, making music, like doing anything. All of that stuff that I used to do as a hobby, it's now a task that I put on my calendar that I procrastinate just as much as anything else. I procrastinate making YouTube videos even more than I procrastinate doing my homework. I procrastinated making music and making videos even more than I procrastinated on applying to jobs. Like when I was on Adderall, I was more motivated to apply to jobs than to make videos. Like that is how little I enjoy the process now, And like I hate that it's gotten like this because I don't really enjoy much of anything. I'm gonna I'm gonna be back in a few minutes. All right, I'm back. Just took a bathroom break. Yes, deleted oh 01, the stream is still live. In fact, we have 10 more slides to go. So let's go to here. And so another thing that another change that has happened that is contributing to me finding everything's just very unenjoyable and unfulfilling is that I'm busier than ever, but the output is really like it just seems abysmal. And why is that? Well, so these charts, the first chart um, shows that as the perceived significance of a product or something like a game or a book or anything that you want to make, as the perceived significance increases linearly, the complexity of the project increases exponentially. So think of a game like increasingly big games, right? Like you have like Pac-Man, and you have like Mario, like Minecraft, like GTA 6 or Red Dead Redemption or some shit, right? Like as these games sort of increase in how cool they are and how big of a deal they are, the complexity is going to increase exponentially. So these will take exponentially like as much like the complexity of the components and stuff, right? But let's look at the second chart here. As the complexity of a project increases linearly, the time required to finish this project increases exponentially as well. So it's compounded. So as the perceived significance of a project increases, the time it takes to finish this project goes up like exponential of exponential. So all this is to illustrate that as I've gotten older and I try to execute like increasingly big ideas, the total time required to finish blows way out of proportion to how substantial the achievements feel. And this leads to frustration and dissatisfaction. Like it's happening with YouTube videos too. Happening with like music I write, songs I want to make. I want to make like professional sounding music and I want to make better videos and more in-depth videos. But the time that it takes to do this, it just increases exponentially with how with the bigness of the idea and it's come to the point where I'm really trying to cut down on the amount of stuff I'm trying to do. So for this stream was, this stream is too big. There's too much stuff in it, too many slides, and from now on, I'm not going to do any of this. All right, I'm going to only do like 5 slides in a stream. Like I'm going to do like 5 slides in a video because I'm really trying to cut down on the perceived significance and how big I want to make each video project. Because that's going to drastically cut down on the amount of time required to finish, and that's going to help me, be able to actually upload. However, this alone does not solve the problem of. However, this cutting down on the bigness of the ideas, that alone is not going to solve the problem of me not finding any of this stuff enjoyable anymore. Because even if I make smaller videos that don't like take forever to edit, I straight up just don't like making videos anymore. And I still like the result. Like I really am passionate about the things I want to say on this channel and have a lot of things that I think are really worth talking about. And I have like messages that I want to spread in my future videos, but it's only for the result. I'm starting to really fucking hate the process. It is so like painfully unenjoyable to have to go through the process of making these videos. All right, so now I'm going to talk about growing up. I'm going to talk about maturity. So one time in my freshman year of college, right now I just finished my first senior year. I'm about to be a super senior next year. But in my first year of college, second semester, my roommate actually just like chewed me out in the dorm in front of everyone, and this was really was because of a misunderstanding. Although the points he made really were accurate, and there were definitely things that I had to work on. But I thought back to that experience, and I'm like, have I even changed, or am I actually still the same like immature, antisocial piece of shit? With just like a higher quality mask, you know, because so on the top half of this slide, this models maturity as change. So these spheres are like kind of cores that emit behaviors. So as you grow up and get more experiences and get older and your brain develops, the core changes. That's maturity as change. But and the bottom half of this slide is maturity as compensatory layers. So there's always this immature core, but maturity is just sort of these layers of these like onion layers that just are built up around this core, um, that will filter, but and adjust or suppress the actions that come out of the immature core. But is this really maturity? Is it really maturity? Because it's like I really feel like this is like the second kind of maturity here, quote unquote maturity, is really what I've developed, you know. It's like it's the outward appearance of maturity from layers upon layers of compensatory mechanisms built around a flawed core. And the core deep down is still a selfish, lazy person who always wants to get their way and wants to indulge in instant gratification all the time. Because if I get thrown off by something that emotionally triggers me, or I don't get enough sleep, or I'm stressed, or these compensatory layers weaken for whatever reason, like cracks in the outer layers reveal the same immature, like crybaby core on the inside, So let me give you an example. This is a recent thing that just happened, like literally yesterday. Um, so I started the day feeling good because I went outside for a walk the first thing in the morning, which is, that's something that I'm currently getting into the habit of doing, is to always go outside first thing in the morning, right? And so after I came back from that walk, I finished a task. So, I felt good. I was like, okay, I'm starting to get on the right path again. I'm getting stuff done. And then I went to an appointment. And then, since I didn't have a car, these transportation trips are pretty long and I always have to they always take a lot of executive function and timing. So I was really tired when I got back because I was out for hours. So, I cooked dinner, and because I didn't want to waste money on DoorDash, right? So I cooked dinner, but I felt like irrationally angry at the smallest things not going my way. I was washing a container in the sink, and I poured out the water, and it landed on the cutting board, and then the cutting board made it so the water just sloshed at my shirt, and then I got water on the floor and over my clothes, and it just made me so angry. Stuff like that, like me trying to flip over a piece of chicken breast in the frying pan with a fork, and it just wouldn't turn over, and then I just started getting really angry. I actually started screaming and just hitting the cabinets out of just this animalistic rage. I was so irritable, right? So, this day went from being an adult getting things done to regressing back into this child throwing a temper tantrum because they spilled some water on the floor. And it's like that's just because I was too mentally drained to keep up the facade of maturity. And is it really maturity then if I don't improve the core? Because it doesn't feel like it is maturity. It feels like I just kind of got good at acting professional, to try to live up to social expectations. But it takes a lot of spoons to kind of keep it up. And if I don't have the energy, then the core reveals itself. But maybe this is what maturity is. Like maybe after all, maturity is about accumulation, not replacement. And like accumulation kind of makes sense because like the older I get, the more conflicted I get, right? So as a kid, I just kind of have like a single desire and I just like kind of take action on that singular desire. But as I got older, I always have multiple competing desires and competing beliefs clashing in my head. And it's up to me to kind of choose what to act on and kind of reconcile these conflicts, you know? So I don't think like at least for me, I don't think you kind of lose the child version of yourself. You kind of just add more to it. You just accumulate and that's how you build up who you are. But the old stuff kind of stays with me. And like maturity is kind of like it's kind of like ADHD scaffolding, like scaffolding techniques in order to manage ADHD symptoms. So this can be like putting your phone away from the bed, or like always going to the library to study, or like body doubling, which is like doing work in the presence of somebody else. These kinds of like setting alarms, like all these kinds of techniques. It doesn't get rid of your ADHD symptoms; it compensates for them. So like maybe that's how maturity works. Maybe it's really just building up better and better adult coping mechanisms in order to compensate for your flaws. Although I would very, very much like for maturity to work the way that it does on the top half of this slide, you know. All right, so um, I'm 21 years old, ripe old age of 21, and I've never had a job. I'm still looking for my first job right now. And yeah, I regret not getting a job when I was 18 because right now I still have no money. I've entirely still relied on my parents. And I've like limited social development, kind of like arrested development, because I've never actually like worked a real job and like interacted with customers and stuff. Also, my gender transition is stalled because of not having money. Um, yeah, and I don't have any experience on my resume at 21, which is starting to be it's starting to be a redder and redder flag for employers. And also not being independent from my parents, beyond just negatively impacting them, it's also bad for my mental health. Um, because I'm always kind of like tied down, I feel. And everyone around me has had a job, so I'm kind of like a weird dork. Um, and like also miss out on the fun, like work parties. Like in junior year, one of my roommates had a work party. It was actually hella lit. So like no work, I used to think like as soon as you enter the workforce, like the fun ends, right? But it's not really like that. Like people actually still have work parties. So that is something that I am looking forward to. I just like the feeling of being a 21-year-old who never worked a day in their life. It just feels really losery. Like the Black Pill YouTuber Clowntown said, like he doesn't feel like an adult, he feels like a child plus. That's kind of how I feel too. And like it's like being an employment virgin, like I'm a virgin to employment, and that's kind of a source of shame, like because like it kind of is like a symbol of privilege, and like these days being privileged is not something that like gets you respect. It actually gets you like you get more respect by having gone through hard shit, you know what I mean? Like if your parents were poor, like you get more respect than if your parents were rich, because if your parents were rich, then you're just like you're seen as like spoiled, like someone who doesn't have to work. Like, you know what I mean? Like because I haven't had a job, like everybody is gonna see that privilege, right? The fact that my parents are able to support me and that I get to be this lazy like child is like that's how I'm perceived, and I don't like that. And Yeah, it's like I'm just like the shit life where I just keep having these cycles of like going back into weed addiction and then just like coping with this instant gratification and it's just like it's like I feel like I don't even deserve to have the shit fucking life I have right now. Like that's how like I feel bad about that because as shitty as it is right now, I don't even deserve to smoke weed because I didn't earn that money. I bought that weed with money my mom gave me. Like that's pretty fucking shitty, right? So like no, I don't I feel like pretty ashamed of what I've been doing, like I don't even deserve to be this like loser weed smoker, you know what I mean? So yeah, like I really want to get a job this summer. I want to actually like level up and start to feel a sense of accomplishment for once. Um, like I can't time travel back in time and work when I was a teen. And that sucks because you can't turn back the clock. So I'm always gonna be somebody who only started working at 21. Like I don't want that to be my story. I don't like that that's my life timeline. Like I'm not proud of that at all. You know, if you're if you're a 30-year-old virgin and you finally get laid, like for the rest of your life you're still going to be somebody who was a virgin at 30. Was a virgin until 30, you know what I mean? Like you have to live with that. Like the past happened and there's nothing you can do to rewrite your story. And if that's not the way that you wanted your story to go, you just kind of got to suck it up. Like I'm stuck being somebody who only started working at 21, and that's only if I even managed to get a job this summer. Because like, I've been applying to a lot of places, and I have not been getting very many interviews, and I have not gotten a single offer, so okay, Deleted says, "You could just lie about having a job socially." Yeah, but I don't like lying, and I'm gonna talk about that later in the stream too. So he says guilt is blue-pilled. He says, "Do you think Chad and Stacy would feel guilty about being privileged?" Um, I mean, I guess you got a point there. Like Stacy traveling around the world with daddy's money is probably doesn't feel much guilt about that. But like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I just kind of want to feel a sense of independence and self-reliance. I don't. It's like, well, if Stacy has a good relationship with her dad, then I that's probably why she feels fine. But I do not. I don't have a good relationship with my parents, and I don't want to be dependent on people that I don't even like being attached to. You know what I mean? Like it's like I don't really want to have a relationship with them, and yet I'm still taking from them, right? It would be different if I was really close to my parents, right? But it's not like I want to break free from my parents. I want them to quit bugging me, you know what I mean? But I don't get to say that if I'm still taking from them. So wait, the mud dog says, bro, IDT. I don't think anybody gives a fuck. Okay. If you're currently going to college. I think people do. I think people do. Literally everyone I know in college right now has had a job. It's almost to me, it seems like it's seen as a rite of passage, almost like losing your V card or having your first relationship, like it is one of those things that makes you kind of feel bad for not having it by a certain age, like Deleted says only get a job to pad your resume or to expand your social circle. Well, these are good reasons to get jobs, but I disagree that it's only for those reasons. Because I have like personal goals that I want to reach with money. Like I want to get surgeries to look smacks and also to like fix some of my health problems. Um, yeah, yeah, and I want to get money so I can like get off my parents' health insurance and so I can like buy my own car and like and be able to build a life for myself without having to just like only be taking from you know from other people, right? Um, yeah, like right now I can't really do much anything because I don't really have anything. You know what I mean? Imagine getting a job for any reason other than money. Like obviously the other reasons matter, but like money, obviously money is the number one reason, bro. Like, well, why do we work, bro? Like, bro, I want to get a job so I can even like buy a gaming console, so I can even get a PS5. You know what I mean? Like, eh, I can't yet. Like, I don't even have games to play because I don't have the hardware for it. I don't have the money to buy games and stuff. So like, even for like leisure activities, you need money. And like that's also for social circle too, so you're right about that. Because like the main reason I want to play video games isn't even just to play games alone, it's to play games with other people and to build friendships off of playing video games with people who have similar interests in the games. Deleted says, it sounds like you want to become independent so you don't have to listen to your parents, but your parents probably want you to listen to them more than they want you to be independent from them. Well, of course they want me to listen to them, because they want what's best for me, but that doesn't mean that they actually know what's best for me? Well, I don't want to be independent just so I don't have to listen to my parents. I want to not take from my parents because you see, the more that my parents give to me, the more that I'm indebted to them. So the more that I owe them. You know what I mean? And if I like want to like just go my own way and like transition and like get all these surgeries and stuff, I don't want them to pay for them. Even if my parents were rich and they offered to pay for my surgeries, I wouldn't want them to do that because I want to earn that myself, and I want to be proud that I fucking made it, and I did all this looks maxing, and I did all this transitioning and all that shit. Like I don't want them to be a part of me. You know what I mean? Like if they give something to me that's super duper important to me, especially like the money for physical changes, then like that means a part of them is like forever embedded inside of me. And like I don't want that, because that just feels gross. Like if my parents ever watch this, like I'm sorry I had to put you through this because you're probably feeling a certain way from what I just said, bro. But like um yeah, that's, I'm just being honest. So this slide, this is here's the problem, right? Here's the problem. Because I have not had a job and I'm 21, I'm really behind in all of these interpersonal kinds of character skills. Because you see, like, whenever somebody who has never had a job, they have a shit life, and they're not self-developed as a person, people always give them this advice. They tell them, "Get a job, bro. Get a job." Like, the idea is that, well, working is going to help you develop the work ethic, time management, communication skills, and blah, blah, blah that you don't have. But in job interviews, well, obviously, the employers are only looking for people who already have all these qualities. So how are you supposed to improve from 0? That's like the chicken and the egg kinda catch-22 right now, and it's only gonna get worse the older I get, because I don't have the skills to be able to perform on the job, but where am I supposed to get those skills if not the job, right? So, am I just supposed to lie? Am I supposed to just tell a bold-faced lie and lie through my teeth? Maybe that's how I'm supposed to get a job. Right, like, if you do not have the basic well, this is like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, though. So a job is in the second tier. A job gets you security and predictability in your environment, all right, and also gives you, make sure that you have food and shelter and stuff. But thankfully, I'm privileged enough to not necessarily need that right now, although I would like to. Um, but but the thing, a job fulfills the second tier of Maslow's hierarchy, right? But the employers will reject you if you don't have the top 3 tiers of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you don't have like social skills, if you do not have if you have like low self-esteem during the interview, if you don't have hobbies, and if you don't have like, you know, personal growth and like character and all that, if you do not show these developments during a job interview, you will get rejected. But like, like you see the trouble here, right? But what if you just need a job in order to, I don't know, pay the bills? Because you kind of need to like, well, there's overlap between the different tiers of Maslow's hierarchy as shown in this chart, but you kind of need to focus on fulfilling the lower tiers before you can have room in your life to focus on the upper tiers. So how you supposed to like really do much without an income? Are you just supposed to like, is the solution like lying? Because I heard a lot of people lie on their resumes and stuff. Like, I have not lied on my resume, and I've never lied in a job interview. But the more I get rejected by like the the more I get rejected by like every job I apply to, like jobs that don't even pay very well. Like, I'm just trying to be a grocery bagger at the grocery store. Like, I'm just trying to flip burgers at McDonald's, you know? Like, and I'm not saying this to like make fun of people who work these jobs, because like somebody's got to do it and it's important, you know. But like, like the people act like these are not hard jobs to get, right? Like, whenever somebody is like they have like poor discipline, like some 20-year-old is just like sitting at home smoking weed all day. Like, people give them this advice: get a job, go to McDonald's and get a job. But like, I couldn't get a job at McDonald's. I couldn't get a job at Taco Bell. Like, bro, what am I supposed to do? It's like the more I get rejected, the more I'm tempted to just like try going the lying route, because like I don't know how else I can get my foot in the door. And bro, like, I hate lying, man. Like, I'm like a very like honest person. I do not fucking like to lie, dude. But I don't know. I don't feel like I can even bring myself to do it. Like, because like employers are obviously looking for somebody who can do the task that they're paying you to do, and they're not there to hold your hand to help you take your career from 0 to 1. Yeah, and it's like in these interviews when they want, like, all these job interviewers want you to like, they do small talk. They always want you to open up about your hobbies and your family and like what you like to do for fun. They ask you that, right? Because they say that they want to get to know you as a person, but it's like, no, dude, you don't get to know me. You don't want to get to know me if what you know about me determines whether or not I can pay my rent. You see? Like, so, speaking of job interviews, assimilating into positive society as a negative contrarian. This is not just about the workplace. This is really about like everything. Well, also, this other thing I I put in my notes that I was going to talk about. There were one time I was watching this was when I was like deep in like weed withdrawal, and I had like a lot of insomnia and like body pains, and I couldn't eat, and shit. It's like I was getting these like shivers and fucking like shaking and shit. Like, when I was going through withdrawal, I was watching a lot of these like drug addiction recovery videos on YouTube. So I watched this guy who used to be addicted to heroin, and this YouTuber said that, when he was addicted, he kept on like getting jobs and then quitting jobs like days in. And I was like, bro, how does he keep getting jobs? You know what I mean? Like, how does he manage to keep getting jobs and quitting? Like, some people it's also with, like, an ADHD thing. People say well, this is true too, like, that people with ADHD tend to cycle through jobs. Like, they get jobs, and then they quit jobs, and then they get new jobs. They just cycle through jobs, right? But, like, how do you have an abundance of jobs? How does one manage to cycle through jobs? Bro, what? I mean, like well, David says it's because he has experience. Okay, yeah, having experience definitely matters, but, like, I don't see how somebody can kind of just hide the fact that they are cycling through jobs and manage to get more jobs without, like, lying. Because it's like you can quit one job and then get another job. It's like if that keeps stacking up, then wouldn't you like you can't tell you can't expect to get another job if you let your employer know that you have had 5 jobs in the last 6 months, right? So, like, you kinda just have to lie and say that you have only been working 1 job. Like, is that the only way? Like, because I don't see somebody how somebody can be open about what has honestly happened without getting stuck. Okay, so Delita says, "How do people get jobs without lying?" Well, you just answered your own question. Well, bro, I don't wanna lie, man. Like, it's also with, like, the feeling of accomplishment, you know? Like, I wanna feel like I actually have what it takes to succeed as an adult in this world, and if I can only get the lowest end job by lying, how the fuck is that gonna make me feel? How's that gonna impact my self-esteem? You know? Like, at the very least, I want to feel like I can accomplish getting the most basic job, you know? That I did that, you know? That I got what it takes. Like, bro, if I have to lie to get, like, a job that, like, the society even looks down on, bro, I'm gonna feel like shit. The Madog says, "Bro feels bad for Chili CEO." No, no, dude, it's not I'm not lying because I feel bad for the CEO. Like, I'm being honest because I will feel bad for myself if I have to lie just to get the low end job. You know, like I want to feel capable. Know what I mean? I want to prove it to myself that I can make it. Okay, Delita says, if you had to choose between getting a job and doing things your way, which one would you choose? It's a matter of priority. Doing things my way is getting a job because what I want to do is to get the surgeries that I've always wanted, that I've been like obsessing over for years. You know, doing things my way is to complete my transition. Is to like doing things my way is to like, you know, buy a new computer so I can like do some like high performance stuff like coding and like YouTubing and like videos and stuff. 3D rendering and stuff, you know? Doing things my way is to get a PS5 so I can buy the games I want, right? That requires getting a job. Okay? Like I can't do things my way without having a job. So the Madag says, I don't know if you know this or not, but most people get their first job through connections like friends or family. Uh-huh. Yeah, that is true. Um, Sadly, I don't really have any connections that not that I want to accept, you know, because I don't have any connections through friends. You know, I probably just need to put more effort into networking, but my mom did offer and she said that, "Hey, like, you can come work at our company," but, like, bro, I'm trying to transition, bro. I don't like living at home with my family and feeling like a fucking dude all the time, so like, I don't like feeling like a dude when I'm doing this stream, but I have to because like, I don't have the voice to do it any other way, if you catch my drift, right? So yeah, no, and I don't wanna put myself in an environment where I'm gonna feel too much gender dysphoria, and the thing is, like, I guess I am coming across as, like, hypocritical because I was like, "Oh, I need to get a job, I need to get McDonald's job," And then now I'm like, I'm gonna turn down this opportunity just because of how I feel, which, like that's yeah, that's true. So, well, Deleted says what I meant by doing things your way is to apply honestly without embellishing your skills and experience. That's not how most people get their first job. Is it? Is it? I mean, well, I'm embellishing. I am embellishing it, but like not like I feel like I'm embellishing it in an acceptable degree. You know what I mean? Like what I mean is that I'm kind of describing my skills and experience in like in like a manner that kind of paints it in a more professional light without like outright lying. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing that because everyone does that. Like on your resume, you're gonna have to put your best foot forward. So you're gonna describe yourself in the most positive light you can. But like I'm not outright telling a lie though. So the Madog says, at my first job at restaurant, 80% of my coworkers at the entry position had connections within already. Dang. So it is just a fucked nepotism world, ain't it? Man, this sucks, bro. Time to hit the bar and socialize. Yeah. Yeah, bro, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. You know why? Because in freshman year of college, my roommate, the same roommate who chewed me out, he actually like he worked at a bar and he said that like he could put in a good word for me to be a bar back. So I could be at like not like a bartender, but be at the back like fucking like moving the boxes and shit. You know what I mean? But like and I said no because I wasn't looking for a job at that time. But I should have said yes. I should have fucking said yes, bro. Because the reason I said no was because he said like, "Oh, bro, there's gonna be so many hot girls there," and then I thought like, "Oh man, that's just gonna make me feel horrible because I'm gonna feel a lot of gender dysphoria. So I don't want to surround myself with hot girls." You know what I mean? Mean like, I should have taken it though. I should have just bit the bullet. I should have fucking taken it, bro. So I'm kicking myself, bro. David asks, what type of jobs do you apply for? Is it low level stuff like McDonald's? Yeah, I'm applying for stuff like a McDonald's team member, Walmart, like a retail associate, like Costco team member, and stuff like that, like Chick-fil-A, drive through and shit. And that's kind of what I'm doing. All right, well, shit, 3 hour stream, damn, it's 10. I gotta fucking get on with it. Okay. Slide 27. Assimilating into positive society as a negative contrarian. Normie positivity feels extremely unnatural to me. Valentine's Day club activity. No. Okay, so this organization, this Christian org I was talking about, hanging out with, the one I went on the trip with, there was on Valentine's Day, we had an activity and we were writing these positive, inspirational messages and we are just like attaching them to flowers and putting them on cars, right? And just like sort of making someone's day like that. And like I like the idea. But the challenge was coming up with something to write that actually felt genuine. You know, and it doesn't have to be genuine, but I just ended up copying some inspirational quote off the internet. But the other people didn't have to do that, like I could sense that other people could genuinely write a positive blue pill message and really mean it, whereas I had to sort of just like pretend to believe in something like that by going on Pinterest, right? The thing with like, okay, just like with what I said with the resume, sort of, slightly embellishing your skills versus outright lying, like with ADHD medication. Like I said before in the stream, it helps me bring forward or quiet down certain aspects of my personality. So I can bring forward the positive part of me and I can kind of quiet down that kind of like black pilled aspect of me. But, that doesn't mean that it lets me just straight up turn into someone I'm not. I can only sort of like do the whole like adaptation thing to some extent, you know? And that like normie positivity thing, like with the inspirational quotes, it's something I can only fabricate. You know, like there are these like these like positivity like Instagram accounts and like YouTube comments, like always with like these like heart emojis and like the Bible verses and like I can't do it, bro. I can't do it. But yeah, with the positive messages on the flowers thing, it felt so unlike myself and so ingenuine. And the reality is, dude, like people don't give people opportunities if they are negative. I have to keep up this positive face in the workplace, in order to, or else you're gonna meet with HR. You can't get anywhere in life if you're negative, right? But as somebody who considers myself black pilled, who has a lot of black pilled beliefs that quite contrarian. How much longer until I crack? How 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 long can I put this mask on and pretend to be this like happy-go-lucky normie until I just like give up? Like I don't know if I can do it, but I'm gonna keep it pushing because I can't be complaining, bro. That's not what the adults do, right? Oh man. Jack in the POA says, "Aren't many normies faking their positivity?" Well, I don't know, but here's my 2 cents on it. I don't think they're faking their positive tendencies, but they don't mean what they say literally, obviously, right? So let me give you an example. Like one time, my roommate and one of my other roommate's friends, we were like hanging out in the living room at our apartment, and so the friend, and like one of my roommates, right? They like said they were like we were all sitting down at like the couch and all that shit. And he said like, oh, you're 10 out of 10 beautiful. You're 10 out of 10 beautiful. He was like pointing to all of us and saying you're 10 out of 10, you're 10 out of 10, you're 10 out of 10. Right? Obviously, we're not all 10 out of 10s. I'm certainly not a 10 out of 10, right? So does he mean what he says literally? No. But is he faking that positive energy? I don't think so. Like, even though he doesn't literally mean what he said, I think it's genuine, the positive energy, that kind of tone that he's giving across. That seems genuine to me. Okay, well, let's keep going with this bullshit stream. And the thing is, especially when I'm not on ADHD meds or when I'm crashing, when somebody says something blue-pilled like that, I just like this like black pilled reaction kind of pops up in my head and I go like, "Oh, man." Like I just feel dissatisfied with human psychology, right? I'm like, "Oh, well, why do we have to shower people with compliments? Why can't we just face the truth and not even feel so bad? Like why do we naturally dislike people who give the non-sugar-coated truth?" Like these kind of like autistic black pill thoughts would just instantly come up in my head. You know, like ADHD meds, it makes it easier for me to block out those thoughts because they're not really relevant to socializing. It's not exactly helping me socialize. But when the meds wear off and I crash and I'm feeling irritable, then I get a lot of these like contrarian thoughts. And yeah, I feel very, very like ingenuine when I'm socializing because of that. Like this emotional barrier whenever I need to pretend to agree with blue pill beliefs and attitudes in order to fit in, to not be ostracized, right? I have to hide my black pill, red pill, and right wing opinions. And yeah, I can hide it, but the problem is I can't feel emotionally close to people when I'm not being myself. So I can either hide these, you know, non-socially acceptable beliefs to make it, but I feel distant from everyone because I'm faking it. Or I can be honest and authentic and be vulnerable with people at the expense of only being able to be friends with a very, very, very small percentage of people. Like, yeah. So, also with transitioning, s like, one of the biggest hangups I have about social transition is that, like, women just don't like non-feminists because they just kinda see like, if I'm gonna be open about, like, my black pill, like, right-wing opinions around women, they're just gonna see me as a traitor, like, they're not gonna see me as a girl's girl, right? If I like, I can't just say, like, the sexual revolution was a mistake. Like, no, women should not have the right to choose to, end their, fetus. They should not have the right to do that. And like, no, bro. Like, they're just gonna see me as a bad person and not want to associate with me. You know, and I do think that for women, value disagreements are a stronger deal breaker socially than among men. Men seem to tolerate moral disagreements a little bit better among their friends. And you know, all that is not to say that I'm not this like super political person. So I'm not just gonna go around kind of like espousing my opinions. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just saying, like, you know, that the fact that I know that if the fact that I believe something that I know that if other people knew, it would be a deal breaker. It's hard to carry this with me. You know what I mean? Okay. Let's see. Jack is informing me that somebody is posting spam adult content links on my Discord server. Bro, that Discord server is completely dead, and it has been for many months, if not almost a year, I think. Yeah, I'm not coming back to that Discord server. That like my account got banned from Discord, and I just was not able to moderate that server for a very long time. And at this point, it's finished. It's dead. Um, yeah, if I don't know, like, what I have not checked that server in a while. What's been going on? Is there anything good that's happened in that server since? You know, like, maybe okay, well, back to the content, like, maybe I just have to learn how to fucking lie and be okay with it because, like, a friend of mine, he, one time he drank too much alcohol and he ended up getting into like, he got sent to the hospital because he, like, drank too much alcohol, right? He actually went and got put into the psych ward because, he got put into the psych ward because like, the medics were, like, asking him what happened, and he lied that he tried to kill himself by drinking because, he did not want to admit to, you know, to his parents that he was just drinking and partying and, like, you know, so he made up this excuse, but it's like, that's something that's really heavy, you know, something that's so heavy, and I can never see myself lying about something that's that serious, and a lot of people are like him, you know, they just kinda go around lying and they're just kinda okay with it, you know, like, this friend of mine, he lied about his body count to the girl he lost his virginity to, you know, like, he lied and he just lies casually in social situations to make himself look better, and I'm not exactly sure what the bell curve is. I don't know where on the bell curve of lying versus honesty he is. Well, what I'm saying is that I don't know if this is how much normal people lie, and I should just try to be like that, or if he's somebody who lies far more than average. You know, because I don't actually know what the average person is like because I'm so socially inexperienced. Oh, really? Deleted says a face has been faithfully preserving my Discord server for my return. If he's actually been doing that, then wow, wow, that's very commendable. I appreciate that so much. Wow, like somebody is still putting in the effort to take care of the mess I left, and that's really cool. So so thank you, FaZe. Um, well, Jack says it looks like what you would expect an unmoderated Black Pill server to look like. Deleted says, have you seen the movie Saltburn? It's topical. No, I have not. Saltburn, 2023 film, thriller slash comedy. Jacob Elordi. Huh. Alright, I might give it a watch. I give it a watch, bro. Well, there's a lot of gross scenes, it says, but, yeah, okay. Oh, shit. Oh, delete this, don't look up the synopsis, you'll ruin it. Oh, shit. I'm not looking up the synopsis, bro. I just looked at, like, one Google. I kinda looked at synopsis. I kinda looked at the synopsis, but it's okay. I'm gonna watch it. I don't really know what it's about. I already forgot the synopsis. Yeah. Alright, so that covers, like, most of the main stuff I wanted to go over in this stream, but there's still some more that I recently added on, and that's because lately I kinda realized that I actually have um, OCD symptoms, and I'm not self-diagnosing myself with OCD because I don't think that, well, first of all, I'm not promoting self-diagnosis, but also I don't think my problem these symptoms are bad enough to, impair me substantially in my everyday life. So I'm not considering myself to have OCD, but dang, like it just dawned on me one day, like that I actually have like a lot of problems. Well, let's see. Jack asks, is there any way to be anti-feminist and still have approval from normies and women? Well, you can get approval from like right wing guys. Like maybe like some frat bros would be like that. It's kind of hard to find on a college campus, but it's probably easier to find in like a more conservative like rural area. Um, yeah, it's like I'm just here's the thing though. It's like because like a lot of people in the BP community don't even consider me like a real BPer because I'm too negative for normies, but I'm still too positive for black pillars. Right? So like my black pill friends, like most of them are a lot more like cynical and amoral than me in the sense that they kind of like don't care about morality. It's not that they are bad people, but like they don't not that they do bad things, but sort of like why do you care about lying? And you know what I mean? Like a lot of black pillars kind of have that kind of attitude, and I'm not like that, like like black pillars sort of have this like dog eat dog world mentality, and they kind of have this like get the bag mindset, as opposed to like you can be someone's sunshine. Like they don't have that emotional inkling to see the bright side of things and to do positive deeds, even if they're in a dog eat dog world. Like my black pill friend, he said, he like one time a guy told him, if you ain't fucking her, I hate you, or something like that, right? And basically he was talking about like compliments don't mean shit. If you're not fucking the girl, then like if somebody just glazes you and says you should be a model, well, you're not the one signing the modeling contract, so it doesn't fucking matter. If you ain't fucking her, it doesn't matter. Like, dude, it's like I don't know, man, but it's like the stuff like this is just too black pilled for me, bro. It's too like too much of like the house MD kind of like vibe, bro. Like why not just feel happy that somebody gave you a compliment? It's like when someone gives me a compliment now, I like it actually makes me feel happy and I just take it and I feel like I'm glad that they kind of like went out of their way to make me feel a little bit better, and I try to do that to other people more as well. But like like well why you got to be so like grim and go like, "Oh, it doesn't matter, bro, cuz you're not the one signing the modeling contract." Like what? You know? I don't know, man. See, I'm too positive for black pillars, but I'm still too negative for normies. And this I did start feeling more positive with hormones from transitioning because it just kinda opened me up emotionally, and it decreased my aggressiveness. It and, also there's this kind of, like, concept in psychology called systematizing and empathizing, and, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and it shifted my balance towards empathizing. So, like, I do feel kind of, like, more bubbly and upbeat because of the estrogen, because before that, when I was just on, like, male hormones, I felt a lot more emotionally blunted, and that's when I was kinda cynical, like these black pillars, right? So, I think that this is one of the reasons why it's very hard for women to be black pilled, is they just have more positive empathetic tendencies. Anyway, what else? The OCD symptoms. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get some water. Alrighty, so OCD symptoms. Very recently, like not even like I think like maybe like 3 weeks ago. Like there was just one night when I was just kind of introspecting and it just suddenly dawned on me, oh shit, I have a lot of textbook OCD symptoms, bro. So one thing I do is that I just ever since I got black pilled into the looks maxing community, I started obsessing over my looks insecurities illogically. And it's not the same thing as like BDD, body dysmorphic disorder. It's just kind of like it's very OCD, and it's because I need to like constantly sort of like wish to have wider set eyes and like have a shorter face and have like a more forward maxilla and all that shit. And it's like I feel like if I do not sort of like ritualistically wish for these features, then my eyes are gonna get even closer set or my face is gonna get even longer, which like makes no sense, right? But like I just feel the need to do it. Like if I don't, something bad's gonna happen. Um, Also with physical body symmetry, because of with like my jaw muscles and shit, they're always like uncomfortable, and I'm just sort of like always scared that like it's gonna get worse if I don't do everything I can to make sure that it doesn't get worse. I also have this like asymmetry with my abs, how they like kind of like rotate to one side, like and I know, and then I just keep making an effort to like flex them the opposite way in order to like counter the asymmetry, in order to make it not get worse. Like, ever since I was in, like, middle school, I had this handwriting OCD. Like, I felt this, like, need to always connect the letters that I write on a piece of paper in a certain way, and it's not, like, neatness. It didn't even look good. It's just sort of connecting these letters in this really weird way, and I just felt compelled to do it, like, for no reason, Like, it really slowed me down when I was doing school assignments. Here's another thing, clock timestamp OCD. When I take a screenshot or log a medication or edit a note or save a file sometimes, like anything that involves like a timestamp being recorded, I feel the need to save it during the first 30 seconds of the minute so that the actual time rounds to the, seconds, minutes that's displayed. Right? Because if it's like 31 seconds or higher, then it will like if you round up, it will round to the next minute and it doesn't match the time that's displayed. Like so it's like if the current seconds on the clock is past 30, then I wait until the next minute starts before I do the timestamped action. And that's like hella OCD. Also with reassurance seeking rituals. So I started like doing this when I was like 15 or something, or around that time. And I got into this habit of like periodically listing and like wishing against things that I don't want to happen to me. And at one point the word count of that ritual got so big that I just wrote the details down in a note and called the ritual a name to abbreviate it just so I could more efficiently say it throughout the day. And like I would just constantly do this. It's like my brain I couldn't stop like the urge to just like do that. Uh, so what's rumination is a big one. So like many times a day, and I'm trying to do this less. I'm really trying to like break these habits and try to like fix my mental health. But I still have trouble like not doing this. This is a huge one. It's like many times a day I think about things I did wrong in the past, like wishing that I didn't make these mistakes. And I also think about things I succeeded at, but nearly failed. And I worry as if the past isn't set in stone and that the past could change at any moment, like overwriting the present, resulting in me losing the good things that I have. Like I feel like the present is at the top of a flimsy structure that could collapse, and everything good that happened to me, everything good that I ever did, almost didn't happen. So I keep thinking like, thank goodness it went this way because it easily could have not. And like this is not logical because you can't change the past. And I said this in when I was talking about the jobs. You can't go back in time and apply for a job when you're 18 years old. The past is set in stone, but I keep like feeling this anxiety as if like things in the past almost didn't happen, and I have to sort of keep expressing my gratitude that it did happen in order to solidify the present. Like, bro, another one is ever since I was a little kid, when I drink out of a cup, I rotate it after every sip because I don't want to touch my mouth on the dirty spot that I just drank from. Um, I used to hoard screenshots. I used to screenshot everything that I thought was even remotely significant to remember. And it would just take up gigabytes and gigabytes of storage on my phone. But I didn't want to delete them, so I kept like transferring them off my phone onto a hard drive and shit. Um, and because there were so many screenshots, like if something was really important, then I would like take like 4 or 5 screenshots because I need to like make the number of screenshots like proportional to the importance, so it can like drown out the screenshots that don't matter. Which is it's just like stupid as hell, like why not just like delete the screenshots that don't matter and take one screenshot of the things that do matter, right? But I kept like hoarding and hoarding, and I was like really scared of like deleting anything because I felt like life was precious and I didn't want to like delete any piece of information that records like my journey and shit. Um, so another habit that I have is like I compulsively log first times and new observations, no matter how unimportant. Um, so for instance, like you know how like YouTube like first rolled out that feature like a year ago or something, when a YouTuber says like asks the viewer to subscribe, the subscribe button actually lights up and plays this like animation. It's pretty cool. So, like, the first time that happened, I, like, go to the notes in my phone, and I write down, like, "Okay, today's date. This is the first time that I saw this YouTube feature happen." You know, it's like, there's not really a point to doing this, but just I just feel the need to, like, do that. And as for the screenshot hoarding and the compulsive logging of these, like, firsts, I did, like, reduce, how often I do these things, so at least I'm making some progress there. And again, this stuff isn't severe enough to impair my daily functioning, so it doesn't qualify as a disorder, you know, and ADHD medication helps the symptoms go away, until I crash and the symptoms actually get worse, right? But recently the OCD symptoms have been getting worse, and and that sucks. I just hope they don't get even worse. Uh, for people watching, yeah, this is the end of the stream, guys. So this is really all that I wanted to cover. Um, yeah, because there's like the thing is about streaming though. I want to get better at communicating, and I want to not ramble on so much. I want to like be more concise. So I really should like rewatch my streams and kind of learn from my mistakes. But like I always have this like aversion to like watching my videos over because it gives me gender dysphoria, right? So I do not want to like watch this stream and hear myself talk because it just gives me so much gender dysphoria. So that's that. Um, all right, so yeah, that's a stream, guys. Um, I'm glad you enjoyed this stream, and I'm gonna stay on for a few minutes just in case anyone else has anything to say or ask me, and if not, then I'm just gonna wrap it there. So it's whew, I'm really relieved it's over, like I actually feel kind of good. Like at the beginning, when I was just starting the stream, I was like dreading it so much. I was like, oh man, it sucks I have to do this. But like 3.5 hours later, I'm finally finished, and like I'm so glad that I got this over with, bro. I don't have to worry about this anymore. Yeah, this was not bad. Deleted. You take care too. Thanks for watching.